Okay, awesome, cool, thank you. Okay, bye. All right, so I just got off the phone, had to call Michael down at Spotted Dog just to make sure. But before we get into this episode, go to spotteddogsportinggoods.com for clearly all of your hunting and fishing needs. But what I called him specifically just to make sure before we get this episode started is if we had any more of the Garmin Live Scope bundles, and we do. We don't have just a few of them left. And from what he said, just what he said, we're not getting any more. It's not because we don't want to get any more, because we have bought and sold the fire out of those things. But it's $1,100 off. You get the bundle. It's the screen, so a 10-inch graph with the GLS 10 black box and the LVS 34 transducer is $2499.99, $2,500. And so at $1,100 off that, or $1,100 what you're saving because you're getting the bundle. You can get the 12-inch with the same black box and same transducer, and it's $3299.99, which again is $1,100 cheaper if you were to go outside of this promotional period and buy it. So go to spotteddogsportinggoods.com, search Live Scope, look at there, the Garmin Live Scope 10-inch and 12-inch bundles. We don't have but just a couple, and I'm not talking about maybe like 5 or 10. I'm talking about a couple of each left. So go on there and check them out. Now let's get on to the episode. Y'all are going to like who we're talking to today. Let's go. We're good. All right. Well, I'm going to give it one last little sip. We'll get into it.
One last little sip like we're going across the desert or something.
That's what I heard.
Camel.
Yeah. Look, I'm talking about fishing some of the, like the 2 years ago when we fished the Majestic, me and Nick, my brother-in-law did. We were out there at, is it Bullpen? Isn't that the name of it?
Hog pen.
Hog pen. Yeah, the hog pen. We're out there at the hog pen. And I'm telling you, it was so hot, incredibly hot. We were just trying to find some shelter from the heat. I mean, we were just going and putting prayers on our backs, trying to keep the sun off of it. We were doing anything that we could just to try to keep from getting burnt to a crisp. And I'm talking about, y'all know that just nasty infested water up in there. It looks like an alligator or anaconda's ready to come get you. Son, I dove right off in that thing. I swam for 15 minutes. I sure did. I was like, dude, it's hot.
And about that time in Darbonne, you got to go down 3 or 4 feet before that water starts cooling off.
You better believe I was live scoping around. I had that thing set on 100 foot. I was like, I want to make sure there ain't a critter out there I can see within 100 foot of me when I jump in real fast. That's probably the best I've ever been there, or the most thankful I've ever been having live scope, making sure there wasn't no gators or anything swimming around.
There's some out there now.
It is. Well, guys, thank y'all for coming on. I really appreciate it. So we got a legend. We'll maybe be a legend one day. Maybe.
He's working on it pretty good.
Yeah, you doing pretty solid.
He's making his own way right now, so I'm proud to see it.
Yeah. So, but all right, go ahead, Mr. Dale. Introduce yourself to us.
Name's Dale Taylor. Lived in Farmerville since 94, but my roots are there because my dad's from Spears.
Okay.
So we live on the lake, and we own a Farmerville flower shop there in Farmerville. My wife been running it for like 20 years. So.
What's the name of it?
Farmerville Flower Shop. We've been into tournaments for quite a few years. She used to tournament fish with me as a partner. One day, some of the guys came to us and said, look, we need a circuit here. We need you and Gail to run it. So we got with Angler's Choice at that time and started running tournaments. That was about 1997, I think. Okay. Been running them ever since.
Yeah. All right. Well, you're world famous, or at least world famous around this part of the world, anyways. For putting the Majestic on and a lot of other fishing things, and we're gonna go into that. That's one thing it's coming up here very, very soon. I mean, we have less than a month. Yeah, less than a month. So we're going to get into that and talk about some fun Majestic fishing. But Mr. Dale Taylor's grandson, the prodigy, the prodigy. Yeah, all right, tell us.
Daniel Taylor. I've lived in Farmerville for, 8 years now?
I think so.
I was born and raised in Shudrint. Went to Shudrint, played baseball for Tony Antley, won a couple state championships. I own a lawn care business now. And I help run tournaments.
Yeah, so your lawn care business, what's that?
Taylor Lawn Care. I mow yards. I got about 67 yards.
Yeah, you're slammed.
Yeah, I'm pretty booked, and whenever it rains, I start crying with it.
Yeah,
That's so.
And Greg.
Hello, Nolan.
You've been on here. Is it just once?
Just one time, man.
How? Why?
Hey, I don't know. My phone don't ring, baby.
Yeah.
Just shoot, bro. I call you every time. Look, I thought about this last night or yesterday afternoon when I text you. So we had to move it back like 45 minutes. We said we're going to do it at 11. Had to do it 11:45. And my little boy, he's not feeling too hot, and he's way better today. But we had to move it back just a little bit. Everyone listening. So I texted Greg. And I'm like, y'all didn't mind. Because I knew you're like, dude, the later the better is fine. But I'm like, dude. Every month and every time that I call Greg, there's always something. No matter what, it's always something changing last minute. There's always some change. I call him every time. And I really think you're probably the only person I do that with.
Well,
but I'm glad you're gracious.
I try to roll with it. I know how schedules can be. They can be
you do a great job with it. But
he called me the other day, and I had rented an aerator. I was aerating the yard.
Yeah.
Because I got to get my grass taken up. And I love a good-looking yard. And I'm fighting that aerator, and I look at this Nolan, and I'm like, I have to call you back because I got two hands and both of them full right now. So, but yeah, we got it worked out.
We did. I'm glad. I'm really, really glad. So, Greg Hicks, Antlers and Hicks Outdoors.
Yep,
you got your own podcast. You do all your own TV personality stuff.
Well, thanks to you.
Well, I just hit a record button. That's all.
I tell you, people, they always say, Greg, you did such a great job at the Life in Farmerville. Nolan does the Knife in Farmerville. And I'm like, all I did was just stand there and talk. This guy right here put it together. I mean, he does a great job. Really good job.
Well, you got the voice.
Yeah.
You got the voice.
Anybody could go and just set a camera up and hit it. Not everybody can do what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it takes two to tango, baby.
That's right, baby.
Hey, we doing it,
And
son.
we do a pretty good job.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I got to say so.
I love it.
Yeah, it is. And dude, that's another thing. If you don't give a crap about Farmerville, Louisiana, and you don't even know where it is, then you should absolutely go check it out. The Town of Farmerville's Facebook page, and look on there. We got some videos, the life in Farmerville, and yeah, it's pretty fun. Matter of fact, here's a little fun fact. Do you know the narrator of the intro?
Yes, I do.
I told you who that was.
You told me.
Could you tell who it was before I even told you? I
could
couldn't
not.
remember.
I'm like, who is that?
Yep. So it's pretty funny. But the guy that owns this building, Parish Restaurant, Corey Barr, you don't know him or know the name? Anyhow, he's the one we needed an intro, and I was like, I need somebody that doesn't sound as redneck and country as me, but also isn't city slicker either. I need somebody that can prop her up and kind of dap her up with their voice a little bit. And so I called Corey. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna bring a mic over, get you to read something real quick, and see if it works out. He's like, you got 3 minutes. I'm slammed in between, like getting ready for tonight. And I was like, okay. And I ran over to Parish real fast. Me and Montana ran over there. Went. He read it twice. That's all she wrote. It was perfect.
And I think you said he was like, his hands were nasty. I mean, he just kind of read it and was done.
He was back there in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was cooking. Wow. Probably had scallops and all the kind of juice on his hands.
Now, you shook your head. You don't know who Corey... Dude, he's like a star, like for real.
No idea.
Dude, was he a Top Chef?
Yeah, was it like Iron Chef?
Iron Chef. It was one of the chef shows.
No idea.
Dude went on there and just... did great.
Rolled over everybody.
Oh, man. Like a steamroller.
Really?
Yeah. Dude can burn, man.
I'll have to go back and look at that.
He can burn.
When if it wasn't, 12 o'clock noon
on a Monday,
and they were open, then I would say we'd take y'all and we'd go get some food over there after. But we'll have to do another episode later on. We can get y'all in. But yeah, get into the nuts and bolts of it all. The Majestic Fishing Tournament. Mr. Daniel, when is it coming up?
June 6th, 7th.
June 7th.
You messed me up.
I messed you up.
I know. I was listening to it
He said,
myself.
Daniel, don't get mad at me. I was like, I'm mad.
Yeah. Look, I called you before that episode aired, though, and I told you, I was like, dude, I don't know what I was thinking. I'm terribly sorry. Yeah, I'm terribly sorry. But yeah, so June 7th, and so sign-ups.
You can sign up now. Toledo Tackle, Honey Hole, Farmerville Flower Shop.
Can you do it online?
No.
You do it at K&M?
No, it's not
we
online.
We don't do K&M. We don't do online registrations because we want people to walk in the tackle shop.
Okay.
Our tackle shops really appreciate that they have to walk in, sign up there, go look at some baits, go buy some baits, things of that nature.
Makes sense.
Absolutely. So it's coming up less than a month. Yep. It's going to be, we're hoping, the biggest Majestic. I mean, by the talks of it, it's going to be.
There's a lot of talk.
There's a lot of talk. Yeah.
Well, you've set yourself up for that, though. Daniel has done an outstanding job, I think, this year of getting the word out.
Yeah.
We've done several videos. He's posting on the social media page. Of course, everybody knows you want to reach an audience, social media.
Yep.
And so Daniel has done outstanding, and Mr. Dale too. I have to give you a little credit too, Mr. Dale. But you guys have done outstanding getting the word out about the Majestic. I mean, if somebody doesn't know about the Majestic now, and they like to bass fish, they must not have social media or something.
Yeah.
Well,
Because it's out
Well,
there.
even then, we took over the Tuesday and Saturday nighters. So
That's
we're
right.
pushing that even more to help with the people that don't have social media. Hey,
Yeah.
in a month, we got the Majestic, and we're doing great on those too. I mean, we're averaging 30 people.
Oh, yeah.
On a
man.
Tuesday,
Tuesday
night.
night.
Tuesday night. How long is it? 3 hours?
Yeah.
With some big bags too.
Mm-hmm.
Better know it.
It is some big ones. So, all right, which one of you want to tell everybody what the Majestic is?
That man right there.
Well,
He
it's a
created
little
it.
old tournament we have on Darbonne. This will be the 26th year of it. You know, I've gotten up in age now. I'm 76. I would have quit 5 years ago, but I'm afraid they'd hunt me down and lynch me.
Yeah.
And Daniel's going to take it over. He's doing a really good job, as Greg said. He's took a lot of the slack off of me, things I can't do anymore. But this thing started actually as the Peach Festival tournament, which was in Ruston at the time. A man by the name of Ed Pittman, he actually came up with this format that we use. He was a supervisor for the Ruston Waterworks. Really good guy. Fished with us a long time. Unfortunately, he succumbed to COVID back in 2020. So, but Ed started the thing, and he found out after the second year that it was actually more than he wanted to take care of. There's a lot to this tournament. You were talking about the sixth a while ago. It was a bad mistake. No, it wasn't. That whole week is the Majestic.
Yeah.
I know I'm up about 48 hours getting the thing going, but I think 1999 was the year that we actually named it the Majestic. And the reason we did that is the year I took it over, we started advertising it as the Peach Festival. Well, I got a letter from the Tourist Commission in Ruston saying you owe us $1,000 if you're going to use the name Peach Festival. And that rubbed me the wrong way, because the reason that they even have a Peach Festival up there, one of the main reasons, is because of my dad. He was a horticulturist for LSU, and his specialty was new varieties of peaches. He did cross-pollination and such as that, and came up with new varieties of peaches. And I think while he was there for 32 years, he released 13 different varieties. One of them being Harvester, which was the number one peach in the United States. I think it still is. I'm not sure. But he had one named the Majestic, and it was a huge peach. Beautiful, big old peach. The things would weigh 2 pounds apiece.
My mouth is watering over here, son.
Love some
But I knew all of the growers. I knew the Summeralls. I knew Ed Mitchum. His son, Dale Mitchum, I think is the only one left in Ruston that's still raising and selling peaches. So I decided that I would rename the thing the Majestic after Daddy's peach, try to honor him a little bit. He had already retired. So that's where the name came from. A lot of people don't realize that. If you look on the back of our shirts, we have a peach with a bass inside it. And that's to symbolize the Majestic peach. So 99 was the year it started. I think Stacy Young won it that year with a 9-pounder, and who won the stringer that year? Oh, Robert Poe. Mm-hmm. Robert Poe won the stringer that year. And it's just been a line of them ever since. I could name a bunch of them that have won either the big bass portion or the heavy stringer portion of the tournament. Very few of them ever repeat, but some do. We've had 3, I think, that won both categories the same year. Kenny Covington was one. Chad Pody was one. Who was the other? There's another one. Can't think of him right now. But if you win both categories, you're going to win a chunk of money, because we pay out for big bass so many places an hour, depending on the number of entries we have, and we pay a heavy stringer, which is the 5 biggest fish you weigh in during the whole tournament. Pretty good chunk of change.
Yeah.
We usually pay out from $20,000 to $25,000 in the tournament. We have women's division. We have 2 kids divisions. They all get special prizes. And if they pay the full entry, they pay fishing for the big money also. Youngest one that ever won it was 2 years ago was Mr. Zell Bates.
Yeah.
Bet you know that name.
Oh, dude, the stick, man.
He's a high school phenom right now, doing great. He caught a 790.
That was the one. It was early in the morning too,
Yes,
wasn't
it
it?
was about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
He was fishing with Jake Armand, and he won the big bass portion that year.
And the kids.
Yep.
Yeah.
Blew it out the water.
The heaviest fish we weighed in was caught by Kurt Schumacher from Mississippi. Third year we had it, he caught that fish. I think we finished weighing in that year at 7 o'clock. He caught the fish at 6:45, ran in there and weighed 1121.
Golly.
Kenny Covington was leading the thing with a 9-pounder right up until it just broke his heart. A few years later, well, actually, it was 2015, I think. Kenny won both divisions.
Yeah.
He had and I wrote a little article on that, just explaining how I was sure glad he won it after getting his heart broke.
Well, I was just about to say, Kenny's won enough tournaments after that. I'm sure he's
Kenny's
okay
a good
with.
fisherman.
Oh, he's a very good
pretty
fisherman.
good. He's pretty good. I don't know, he's kind of upset right now with forward-facing sonar, I think.
he is.
But
He's still holding his own.
But,
He is holding his
still
own.
competing.
he's like me. He's one of the old hands, but, technology's coming a long ways, and things change. We just got to go with it.
If he ever did commit and got into forward-facing sonar, these young folks would have trouble.
Yep.
He would do what we would do. There's a brush top there. There's a rock on the bottom over here. I had no idea.
Yeah, Kenny's good. Kenny's probably one of the best natural fishermen that I know. I mean, he can
He's
get
from
it.
Farmerville,
Yeah, he's from West Monroe.
West Monroe.
Yeah, he is. And doesn't he teach at Delta?
Yeah.
Hey, he's
I wonder if I know him.
He's deep.
I don't know.
he's deep.
But, back to the Majestic, usually it takes a 7-pounder, I would say, has won more than any. But we have had some 9s. We've had some 8s. We've even had 3 6s that won the tournament. And the stringer is normally from 20 to 26 pounds. So, it's pretty awesome tournament.
Yeah, once you start getting to those mid 20-pound bags for 5 fish, total weight for 5 fish being in mid 20s, that's a bag. That's a bag
That's good
for
sack,
sure.
Yeah.
Chad Pody, I think, has the heaviest bag. He had 2690 in a tournament. Last year, Ben Littleton had 2650 something. I think second largest. Last year was phenomenal, guys. It was probably, well, there's no doubt, it was the best weigh-in I think we've ever had. Daniel and I didn't get to rest until late.
That's terrible.
I mean, we weighed in over 1,000 pounds of fish last year.
Dang it, boy.
Over 1,000 pounds. It was something.
The biggest thing about that is it was the least amount of turnout we've ever had.
Yeah,
Really?
137
boats. That's the lowest we've ever had with the most amount of weight that we've ever had.
That's still a lot of boats, though. 130 something
that's
boats.
still a lot of boats.
Well, back in the good old days, we would have 200.
200, 220.
I think the most we ever had was 250.
250 boats. And most of those boats are going to have 2 people in them.
No, most of them don't have one
entries. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
singles tournament.
Okay.
But
you can. I'm saying, but
You can have two
You can have
people.
2 people in a
Yeah.
boat. You're talking about just not just a 250 boats.
Yeah.
You're meaning 250 entries.
Entries. That's
right.
true.
And
Yeah,
most
gotcha.
people fish alone, and a lot of people fish together. Not a lot of people want their partner in the back catching the fish that they're trying to catch.
Yeah.
Yeah, bag boating's a deal, especially with sonar now, with FFS.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you're in the back of the boat, you know, you just throwing where your buddy's throwing.
Yeah. Well, where it really gets a problem, though, is when you're going and you're fishing out in some of those like Darbonne. People are catching, even the last few weeks, they're catching 10, 11, pushing 12. I don't know. I haven't seen a 12 pulled out yet, but I know there's been multiple 11s. And it really is, there's more 10s than I can count within the last, month, 5 weeks, something like that, been pulled out. Probably, at least 15 10s between that 10 to 11, double digits I can think of within the last 4 to 5 weeks. It's tough when you're out there fishing the deeper water and you're away from the bank, away from structure. That's where fishing too gets really tough.
The last 12 I remember was Sam Chapman. I think he caught a 12. Now, there was a big fish caught this spring.
11 something.
Yeah,
was the
I
biggest
knew it
one.
was really close to 12. I couldn't remember. But I remember
multiple
12. Mr. Sam pulled out that 12 last year.
And this is a year after a drawdown.
It's supposed to be a bad year.
Knocks in the head the myth. We say myth that the drawdown kills the fishing.
Yeah.
I've been around a long time, and yeah, a lot of times the year after a drawdown is a bad year, but it's more than one reason. You know, the fish don't go out of the lake through the dam, but a lot of them are caught.
Yeah.
You know, they're in a swimming pool and they get hammered.
Yep.
Last year, Daniel and I went a few times, and we noticed Daniel had nobody fishing
Nobody out here.
while it was down. That was the difference, I think.
Yeah.
Well, and I also think they drew it down 5 foot, and for 2 months we didn't get a drop of rain.
Yeah.
It went down another 1.5 feet, and you couldn't get to where the fish were.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of reasons why after a drawdown you may have an off year. The fish are displaced. The bottom of the lake changes. When the sun gets on it, it changes, you know. The Tanner gates change the bottom of it. When
Yes.
they're lowering the lake, you know, used to when you lowered the lake, you open the gates on the dam and all the water ran down the channel going out. Now the whole lake moves because you've got 2 big gates that they drop, and just the whole lake is moving, and it's changing that bottom.
Yeah.
There's sandbars where they never were. There's stumps washed out. There's channel markers washed out. There's brush tops washed out, and a lot of things are silting in.
You know, I wonder if some of that came from when they, you know, when they first put the gates in, they put them in and they really just, I don't know, I may be speaking out of turn when I say this. I don't think they understood how they really functioned. And so they would wait. I remember I lived on the lake. I lived on Pleasure Island Road. That road's going to go under if it sprinkles.
Yeah, that's right.
And you would know that a big rain's coming. Well, they wouldn't open it until the lake started coming. And you're just like, man, we knew this rain was coming.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think, and so then they would open, they wouldn't just trinkle them open. They would just open them wide. And then it was just a flood of water going in. And now they go in little increments. They're learning about it. But I can't, like you said, I can't help but think that that's probably some of that direct, just boom. I mean, that's a lot of energy moving at one time.
It is. Well, you know, you're talking about Pleasure Island Road. You know, that used to be Highway 15.
Used to be, yeah.
What's the first thing they did when they built that lake?
Had to make them bar pits for Highway 15.
They raised Highway 15, Highway 33, and Highway 2 to 94 feet. That ought to tell you something. Don't get below that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But it happened, you know, a lot of real estate was sold and things built below that 94-foot level. And it's like I say, if you build in a lake bed, eventually you're going to get your feet wet.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And in 2016, you know, even if they knew how to work those gates back then, I don't think that would have mattered. Yeah, that was coming.
Are these the gates that pull from the bottom?
That's the old gates.
So
The
what are
new
they?
one are the Tanner gates
They're off
that
to the
draw off
sides.
the top.
They're drawing off the top.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I was wondering if they pull off the bottom, it's like if you go get like a minnow bucket, where are all the fish going to be? They're going to be in the bottom. And a lot of times, especially with a good old live scope, you're out there and you see there's some fish around the top, but a lot of times they're going to be a lot of fish going to be suspended towards the lower part of that water column, or even you got catfish, everything else is sitting on the bottom. So if they were opening the bottom gates, I was just wondering how many fish, good fish, are being pulled out of the lake.
Well,
Through the gates, but it don't sound like that's the case if they're pulling from the
I
top.
say you may lose a few, but fish naturally swim upstream.
Yeah,
They're going to go against that current.
yeah.
We actually had this conversation last week.
Yeah.
Really?
A lot of people think that the lowering of Claiborne is why we're catching such big fish right now out of Darbonne. I just can't agree with that.
That's the first I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's the big talk at Lake Claiborne.
It's the tournament talk.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, that's a lake right there, son.
Oh.
That's one of that's coming up that I've seen recently. You know, when I first started with Louisiana team, or what was ARCLA at that time, you know, go out to Claiborne. Never been to Claiborne before. Never seen it. And these guys are pulling in these fish. And the last several times we've been there, the bags are getting bigger.
Right.
You know, the fish, I think the big fish first year was Sonton, and Walt brought in an 8-pounder.
Yeah.
That carried it all year long. But the sacks, oh my goodness. I mean, the total bags that these people are bringing in off Claiborne, of course, it's not a caney, it's not a bussy. Those two are anomalies, okay?
Yeah.
But Claiborne's really making a push right now.
4 years ago, we had a Majestic up there at night, and we weighed in an 11, a 10,
Golly.
a 9, a 7.
Multiple 6s.
Yeah.
6-pounders weren't cutting checks.
Well, they're not catching them like that right now, so they're wanting to blame the lowering of Claiborne 2 years ago for the reason. They say all those fish are in Darbonne now.
Well, if that's the case, then the Washita River ought to have some of the biggest crappie
exactly
you've ever
right.
seen.
And we should be full of stripers on Darbonne.
Darbonne should have 5-pound stripers everywhere.
That's a
right.
good
Yeah.
point. People like to complain,
That's
though. It's really, really easy when we go out and don't catch a fish. That's what I did that night. I fished with the Tuesday night we were Brennan.
Yeah.
You know, I showed up that night. I've never fished it. These guys around here, not y'all, well, y'all, I'm sure y'all do, everybody does, but these other cats, I show up, I'm driving the Tesla, and I get out, and you know, everybody, they see my camera gear. They say, like, who is this nerdy video camera son of a gun right here? And then Brennan pulls up, who hops in the boat with him. Yeah, boy. They're like, oh my gosh. They're about to go out
This
there
is
and
a
They
ringer.
said,
Let's do
Yeah.
this before we know
Anybody
what he's
know
getting
this
in that
guy?
boot.
yeah. And look, we go out there. I caught a 3-pounder like 10 minutes before the tournament ended, and that was it. But I blamed it on Brennan just because it was easy.
You did catch one after dark.
Yeah, I did catch one after. That's the only one. Yeah, we caught one fish, landed one fish. He broke 2 off and some brush and some structure. And like I said, people like it to blame it on the easy things.
right.
I blamed it on Brennan.
Well, Brennan is a hammer.
Yes.
As long as it's light. But when it gets dark, he's blind.
Okay, go ahead. Go.
So the year I won it, the Majestic, I won it in 2019. Brennan had 21 pounds going in the dark. He had 21 pounds. Well, he come up and weighed his last couple fish. He said, I'm going home. Granddaddy called me and said, Brennan's leaving. I said, well, good. I got a 3-pounder and the sun's going down. I said, we are about to work on them. So by the end of the night, I had 23. Brennan comes back like, dang, I'm sitting 4th. All these guys at night fish come up there and the night bite was on. Everybody was catching them.
Well, and that's something that I like about the Majestic. You don't have to fish all 24 hours.
Right.
You can choose, like if you're better at night, you may want to focus your majority of your time at night, or if you're better during the day or certain hours.
Right.
And it's not, and when I say better, I'm saying most confident.
Yeah,
Because when you're the most confident in whatever you're doing, that's what you're going to be best
That's
at.
right.
yeah.
And so, yeah, that's what I
You know,
love
some
about
of
that
those
Majestic.
guys fished that whole thing. Ben Littleton last year.
He sure did.
He fished the whole thing. In fact, after the storm last year is when he caught the 7-pounder that actually put him completely out of reach on the stringer.
Yeah.
Did he win it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he won the stringer
stringer.
division.
Waylon.
And his fish was about, 5 or 10 100 short of the big bass. Waylon Rawson had it. He had a 7 also. It was a little bit bigger.
Caught it on a rattle trap.
He sure did. He cast it way out there. That's what he said on the podcast we
That
did.
was great.
Oh, it was a great story. I'm like, God, just keep going, man. Because Waylon is a younger guy. Waylon's probably mid-20s?
It's
Yeah.
probably my age.
And just a really likable guy.
Yeah.
And he got fired up when Ben talked about his, and we go to Waylon with the big bass. And I mean, Waylon's he told that story, he painted that picture, and the water was glossy. I mean, and I casted that thing. It's the first cast he had on it out there. I cast it way out there. And the rest is history.
The rest is history, as she wrote it.
That's what makes this tournament so popular. The one lucky cast, if you want to call it luck, you call it luck, but it's one lucky cast can win you $3,000 or $4,000.
Yeah. Well, and it's a bigger pool of money this year, too.
Right.
So that's something
Yeah.
else. We got some guarantee that I'm
Yeah.
super excited to talk about. But first, have we even said that it's a 24-hour tournament yet?
It's 20.
I
don't even
mentioned
know
it
if
earlier
you
just a
did?
while
Okay.
ago.
25,
All right.
isn't it?
So, yeah,
Actually,
well, that's
25,
and that's what I
yeah.
said on the podcast. I was like, technically, it's a 25-hour
25.
tournament. So it starts at, 6 a.m. Saturday morning? Or
5:30.
Okay. Starts at 5:30.
First cast.
June the 7th. That's Saturday morning's first cast is at 5:30. And then it's over. So I'm 6:30 Sunday.
7 o'clock on
7 o'clock.
Sunday.
So it's 25 and a half hours.
Yeah.
We'll
weigh
keep adding some
in.
more here later
Yeah.
on.
It'll be a week-long tournament.
Our first weigh in is at 8 o'clock, and we go every 2 hours till 7 the next morning. So there's 12 weigh periods. And we'll write either 4 or 5 checks, depending on how many entries we get, for each of those periods.
Yeah.
We have 4 or 5 overall big bass, 4 or 5 overall heavy stringers. We got 2 fruit jars. You get $10 in each fruit jar for every contestant. And
What are those for? The 2 fruit jars?
Big bass fruit jar, heavy stringer fruit jar. You catch the biggest fish, you get all the money in the fruit jar. Weigh the heaviest stringer, you get all the money in the fruit jar.
And that's
If
separate
there's
from the actual
150,
Majestic.
that's separate.
It's 150 in it, you get $1,500.
Yeah. And it's completely separate from the original payout.
So if you win, you need to put in.
Yeah.
What's the entry fees for the Majestic?
The entry fee's $150.
Okay, so $150 for the
The
Majestic.
two fruit jars are $10 each. We brought back something this year we used to do that was real popular, is shirts. We're, again, bringing back the Majestic shirts, and we have 3 hours during that tournament that if you win one of those 3 hours or all three of them, wearing a shirt, you get an extra $100.
So you want to buy a
Yeah,
shirt?
you want to
You
buy a
want to
shirt.
buy a shirt?
Because you walk up there with a 7-pounder on shirt hour with no shirt on, everybody's,
Yeah.
Man.
Come on. You need to let me know.
And Gail's
those-
sitting over there, oh boy, I'll get that 100.
yeah.
Now, hold on. I'm just going to throw this out there. You may want to have a list of who's bought shirts.
Oh, yeah.
We know.
Okay,
We know.
so I was
We
gonna
know
say,
exactly
I mean,
who.
you know, old Greg Hicks over here.
Let
You
me
know,
borrow
I ain't
your
trying to
shirt.
break no rule, but I'd be like, hey, Lola, I got a good
borrow
one.
your
Let me
shirt.
borrow your shirt real quick.
Yep.
Give me that used medium. Look. They'll never know.
Be up to here.
Now, on your entry form, there's a S, M, L, XL, 2X, and 3X. You circle the one you're buying.
I got you.
We know you bought it.
That's right.
How much are the shirts?
$20.
Okay, so you're still talking about $190 for everything that
Yeah,
you can possibly
$190 will
get.
get you
Everything.
everything we
Yep.
have.
Yep. I mean, that's not much more expensive, if any more than what a lot of there's some trails. They're $250 a pop.
Oh, easy.
Right.
Yeah.
And with less money to win. So, all right, I want to ask this. Out of the, as of this year, at least, it's 25 and a half hours. It's going to be 28 and a half hours, 28 and 3/4 hours next year. But out of the 25 and a half hours, you got the first half being daylight, second half essentially being dark. Over the years you've been doing it on Lake Darbonne, what's won more money?
Ooh.
First 12
Probably-
or latter 12?
I would say night on my
Probably the big fish is going to be at night.
end. So,
Now, it's probably like a 75-25 deal because there are some big ones caught in the daytime out on the channel and some shallow fish. Waylon caught his last year shallow.
around a brim bed.
Yeah, that's a key, this time
Daylight
of
or
year.
as dark though, wasn't it?
No, it was daytime.
It was
Daylight.
Daylight.
Yeah, it was daylight.
I don't know. The stringer is just going to be an accumulation usually of both.
Whoever fishes.
You usually need to catch at least one good fish in the daylight if you're a night fisher. You go into that night needing 4 or 5 pounders or 4 or 4.5. You're in good shape,
So one thing I've learned talking to you and also just figuring it out for myself, the way people fish Darbonne for bass and when the sun's up or when you can see, when that time rolls over and that sun sets, you change your method up
Completely.
You don't fish it the same.
Right.
I know that there are other lakes like that out there. I can't tell you. I can't think of any of them. But going out there and throwing a big worm or a jig and fishing some structure, doing different things like that, that's not going to cut it at Darbonne like it does at a lot of other places. Not saying you can't catch them like that,
Right.
but if it's just a different animal at night.
100%.
Why is that? I've asked you that before, but why is Darbonne such a different animal at nighttime?
Well, it all goes back to bass fishing basics. You've got to adjust to the conditions. Last year was so good because we had cloudy weather in the morning. The shallow fish bit really good. To be out on the channel, you need sunshine. You've got to have that sunshine to really do good out on the channel. That afternoon, the sun came out. At night, it was really good up until we had a storm come in, Daniel, about 2 o'clock?
40-mile-an-hour gust.
It bit
Goes
good
bad.
up till that storm hit. In 2 hours, they didn't do anything. And then they picked back up right at daylight. But it's being able to adjust to the conditions and not get hung up on one bait, one method. You need to try some different things, But most of it is just knowing your fish patterns and knowing the conditions you're fishing. Every day is different. And it may change 3 or 4 times during the day. You just got to be able to adjust.
And nighttime techniques are hardened. You got to throw a big worm. You got to throw a spinnerbait. Not a lot of people have gone out to the channel at night and been like, I wonder if these sunguns going to bite. I mean, it's hard in the fishermen that you got to go fish lights. You got to go fish grass. That sun goes down. That's what you have to do. You look at Alabama lakes; they go catch them out in 30 foot of water whenever it gets dark. You look at Caney. Caney, they were catching 8-pounder. We had a Majestic at Caney. They were catching multiple 8-pounders on a spinner bait in 18 foot of water on the grass edge. You're not doing that on Darbonne. It's not going to happen.
Why?
It's not set up right.
Yeah, just talking about the lake itself's not set up for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you go out in the flats and catch them? Yes, people go out on ridges all the time at night, throw a buzz bait and get hammered. But it's just the way the lake is set up now.
You mean because of so much structure, or what are you talking
Well,
about?
so much shallow water.
I got you.
Yeah.
Whereas-
And your shad will move off that channel into that shallow water.
Yeah. So you don't,
Fish go
your
with
shad movement on Caney really doesn't change whenever the sun goes down. They're going to stay on that grass edge. They're not moving way up or moving way out. Darbonne, sun goes down, they're moving. They're getting off of that stuff. They know that they are not protected. So they're going to go into the shallows. And that's your fish are going to follow and suit.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it too has to do with phytoplankton and such as that. You know, the shad gonna go where they can find that plankton to eat.
Have you ever had anybody say phytoplankton on your podcast?
This is a first. This is a
The
first.
mind of Dale Taylor.
So is that phytoplankton?
Well,
It's
when
going
you
to the
say-
shallow. It's going to the shallow water. That's the stuff that your bait fish, your real small bait fish, are going to eat. Your phytoplankton.
Yeah.
And then you got your other little bit bigger bait fish and brim and stuff like that. And crappies eating them.
Right.
And of course your bass
Food
are going
chain.
to follow the food chain. Yeah.
So,
And when you call it phytoplankton, it's all it has to do is with the amount of light where
Right.
the plankton is.
Right.
And that's why lights are so good at night.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you just put a sun out, and there's 50 of them. Go hit 50 suns whenever all the plankton's under there. You're looking at shad doing this. The fish are coming.
You know, I was talking to Connor Nimrod. I think it was either I was just talking to him or it was this last episode. He was saying that a lot of times those fish that they're staying on the outs, those big ones, they're not, a lot of times they're not going to be up swimming through suspended like in the column of the light. They're either
They'll
going to
be
be
in
on
the
the
dark.
bottom or they're going to be out there in the dark, just sitting there, just waiting. And that's where you can go and
Think of a
go
tiger
and catch 'em.
sneaking up on a gazelle. He's going to be hiding in the grass until she gets a little close, and then
Yeah.
won't hit you.
But we catch bass, even decent 2-3 pounders in Darbonne, at night fishing the tournaments around lights.
yeah.
But the big one's gonna win you money.
Oh, no.
You don't catch them in the lights, not in the lights. It's
On the
the
outsides,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm saying you catch them in the lights. I'm talking about it not where it's not
right
right,
under-
not
right
right
underneath
under the
it, yeah.
cone. It's lurking in the shadows. Yeah.
Well, Connor's right. He's absolutely
That
right.
boy is a stick. Oh, my goodness.
Dude.
It's unreal.
He
is unreal. He has got it figured out.
I don't think he's gonna fish it though.
No. Nighttime and people. It gets
But-
dangerous. It is a dangerous tournament. You got to know what you're doing.
Well, didn't somebody at that storm last year, wasn't there a boat that capsized?
Yeah, one sunk.
And
Yeah.
waves
Oh,
went
Lord.
over the back.
Yeah.
Oh
he
my
was
goodness.
pulled up on. He was beaching it, and it went over the back.
Yeah, he beached it. Should have gone around the point and beached it, but he beached it and then couldn't.
Yeah.
And then 2 years ago, Colby Dark, who we've had on here, he's coming on here again very soon. But Colby, I don't remember the story, but somehow or another tore his boat up.
Hit channel marker.
Got hit a channel marker.
Fiberglass was dripping off of it. But it's also Colby Dark. Let me rephrase it. That's also Colby Dark.
Colby, we love you. No offense, we love you. Yeah, we want to get him back on, and we'll get him to tell his part of that
that's
story.
exactly
I didn't get him to tell that the first time he came on, so I'll get him to tell that this next time.
But it's
This
a
next
memorable
time.
tournament. I mean, there's a lot of people don't fish it for the money anymore. They fish it for the bragging right. I won the Majestic.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I won an hour in the Majestic, or I won the whole thing. I mean, I won it. That's going to live with me forever. That's one of my greatest accomplishments.
One thing about the Majestic that kind of sets it apart from the other tournaments is, when I asked Dale, we're going to Darbonne, Louisiana team. Who you got? Dale's going to come up with somebody. 9 times out of 10, that fisherman and his teammate will be in that top 5. With the Majestic, you can't.
Anybody's game.
Anybody's game.
You just back up. You
You
just
can
can't.
say-
You can't call it.
This group of 20 anglers could win.
Why is that?
Because it's so fast. You got 24 hours to figure them out. anybody can figure them out in 24 hours.
Bruh, that time out, don't say that.
It depends on whether
watch
you're
your
talking
mouth.
about the big bass portion or the stringer portion.
Yeah.
You know? Big bass portion, you can't. There's no way you can guess who's
One
going to
cast.
win it.
Yeah.
The
True.
stringer, I can probably pick 10 that'll be in contention
Yeah.
Every year.
every year.
Yeah, you go out there and you find them schooled up in some deeper spot, or you find 4 or 5 fish. Same thing you do with like the crappie. You go out there and you find some hammers out there.
Follow
and
them
start
around.
trying. Yeah,
But even in saying that, there's only 2 that's ever won the stringer division twice. Chad Pody and Santos Mitchell.
There's that name.
Yep.
He showed out at Claiborne the other day. I
Yeah.
texted Daniel. I was like, is Santos going to win every hour?
He tried,
He tried
to.
to. He finally got on the Santos is, man, he can, there's not words. I can't come up with a word. He just knows what he wants to do. And
Well, it seems like he kind of halfway grinds it out,
every time.
and he just sticks with it.
You will see his name
Multiple
during the
times.
Majestic.
Multiple
Oh, I
times.
agree with that 100%.
More
Probably
than
more than
once.
one.
And
Yeah.
the lake is setting up for that kind of fishing and other fishing. I mean, you look at what people are saying. Personally, I've seen a 30-pound sack come out of Darbonne this year. I'm not going to say who caught it or where he caught it, but pictures.
Yeah.
I'll say who caught it, but I won't say where.
Uh-oh.
We've been talking about him.
yeah.
Brennan.
Oh, yeah, he's a hammer.
That boy's catching them.
He can catch them.
Yeah, there's been multiple, and he's guiding out there.
Oh, yeah.
So if
if
you
he's
need,
guiding out there, they're biting. Yeah, because he's got Caney on his back of his hand. If he's guiding in Darbonne,
Yeah.
they're eating.
yeah, it's good. Yeah, old Brandon, he can get on them. So actually, the guy, a good buddy of mine, Zach Poole, who Rafter P. Matter of fact, your hat that you're
That's
wearing,
right.
Rafter P. Custom Knives.
Go check them out. All your social medias. I use knives all the time. I'm not trying to do a
No,
commercial.
no, please do a
But
commercial.
that
I'm gonna make him
knife-
pay for it.
That knife is well balanced. It's light. It's well balanced. And I mean, like, I every animal that I'm fortunate enough to get, wherever it falls, I'm gonna quarter it up right there.
Right.
That way, my processing is
Easy.
halfway done. That knife, I cannot wait to get something on the ground because it just feels good and it's going to speed up that process so much more. Go check them out. Rafter P Custom Knives on all your social medias.
Thank you for sponsoring.
Yes.
I love
this
it.
break.
I love it.
But no, he just started making it. Actually, I went before you and somebody else was taking off heading out of town. I went to Tennessee Tack. Is that where you got that? Is that
First shirt. That's First Tennessee right there, baby.
nice? That's the first one.
That's
Not
the
this year.
first
It's
one.
your first one.
That was 21 right there.
Nice. So before they were going out of town, I went and met him with one of Zach's knives. I was like, hey, I'm going to go give you this knife. And it's pre-production. Like he's making, matter of fact, that's what he's doing right now is he's cranking them out. But it's like a skeletonized kind of knife. And I've talked about it. Everybody's heard it on here. I got one in the car. I'll show y'all. But I went and met him with it. And so it's not like, it doesn't have a big handle, big, huge blade, but you can just like clip it to your bino harness. You like how it felt though and everything?
loved it.
You know what I'm excited about? I'm excited about going and like even snapping it onto like your life jacket. Or, out there when you're fishing or whatever.
You can't even tell us there.
Mm-mm, you really can't. It's
No.
small, it's Kydex.
And it's in a sheath that, it's in there.
Yeah, it ain't
I mean,
coming
when
out.
you want to take it out, you really got to
Yeah.
get a good pull.
Plastic on the inside?
Yeah, it's like a hard shell.
It's like
Hard
a
shell?
Kydex. Like
Yeah.
just like
those.
a Kydex. Oh, yeah.
And the clip, it is whatever you clip it to, you could clip it to a bucket bull. It ain't coming off.
It is not.
I mean, it's
Now-
on there.
Yeah, it is. But so Zach, he's the one that got Brennan into fishing.
Really?
And the funny thing is Brennan, he's going in fishing the Bass Opens now, and I mean just making a name for
doing
himself. Yep. So he's getting after it and grinding it out and doing really good. But he's doing that, or he's fishing pro now, and that's all he's doing is fishing. But Zach is bow hunting and all into archery and more in it than probably anybody else in this area. And Brennan's the one that got Zach into it. So they just swapped the roles.
Sweet.
The roles turned. So
I mean, I ain't
they-
trying to tell Brennan what to do, but that Rafter P custom knife sure would look good on the side of that Phoenix. No, not Falcon.
Falcon.
On the side of that Falcon.
Look, that hat he's wearing, Odell, that Darbonne Marine logo, it ain't shrinking though.
No.
It ain't.
No.
Or Burns Mechanical, it ain't gonna shrink down.
That's
but,
right.
But I'm fishing it with Zach, and I'm super excited about that.
Yeah.
So he's him and Brennan. They used to smash them out there, which a lot has changed over the years. So Zach, you better bring your A game, son. Don't be slacking. I ain't paying that entry fee. Matter of fact, I'm going to renege that. I ain't paying you entry fee. You paying your own entry fee.
He's going to fish with you during the Majestic? Oh,
yeah.
sweet. That's going to be awesome.
Well, just because I'm needing to get pictures. So like that's another thing too, before I forget, the 3 hours that y'all were doing for the T-shirts, you need to let me know what those hours are. That way I can make sure that I'm there to be able to get some pictures and that and stuff for y'all and Farmerville. But whoever I fish it with, I'm going to have to.
We're going to have to stop.
I can't fit. Yeah, I'm going to have to go and kind of get some pictures and videos of the thing.
Right.
So let me ask you, just from my standpoint, I mean, like, let's just say I want to see some of these big fish that are brought in. What hour were you like, man, you know what? If you're going to have all of them, this is the hour to be there. It could be a couple, but I mean, just kind of ballpark it.
Let's say the 8 o'clock.
The very first one, I'll have a good fish, a really good fish.
Top water bite.
In fact, usually it leads
Till about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, but no, usually till sometime in the afternoon when the channel bite kicks off. Probably that first hour, a lot of people going to come in at noon and go home and rest. There'll be a lot of fish weighed in that hour. Right at dark, it could be a big fish, but probably from midnight till daylight is a time you probably don't want to be there.
You want to be
there.
there.
Will be some biggies.
Yeah, there'll be some giants brought in.
Yeah.
And you get to see the fishermen play the game. That's what they say. Play the game.
That's what's cool about it.
Everybody's looking at each other. What do you have? Well, I got a 6. Well, you're lying. You don't have a 6-pounder in there.
Yeah. You're just trying to get them to turn around and go back.
Or weigh in so then I can bump him.
Hey, it's funny you say that because they had the crazy crappie cash.
Oh, don't even bring this up.
This was last year. This was last year. So I was over there helping Steve, and we were doing stuff. And a guy came in, weighed in a fish. I think it was probably 1.5 pounds, something like that. The next guy was coming up. He said, "What'd you have?" He said, 2.5. Guy turned around and went back to his boat. I mean, I'm like, he just lied. And Steve laughs. He played the game.
Playing the game.
Well, Greg, all fishermen are liars except me and you.
That's
And
right.
I got my doubts about you.
But I mean, it's just, and it is that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because they don't have to wait. They can sandbag, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
do.
Think about the Claiborne Majestic. We had a 7-pounder. Last 30 seconds, he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna weigh it." Dude comes running out of his boat. What was it, an 11-pounder? 11 pounder.
Oh my goodness.
Jumps and gets into the dadgum tank with the fish. I'm weighing this hour. 10 seconds left. And the guy with the 7-pounder's like, "You got to be kidding me."
Well, what was so funny about that,
The next
Daniel, was
hour.
Craig Cobb standing there. Said, "Boy, he messed up." He comes in the next hour with an 8. Craig does.
No, it was a 9. It was a 906.
Yeah, 906. Man, I got this. He gets bumped.
What's bad is he's talking about it. Man, last hour, what's his face put up a 7-pounder and then got bumped the last 30 seconds. Why did he wait? Why didn't he wait?
And then he got
30
bumped.
seconds
bumped
left.
with
He
a
said, "I'm
10.
gonna go ahead and weigh it with this 9," and then a 10-pounder comes in the last 10 seconds. He said, "You've got to be kidding me."
And see, there's you another one.
Oh my
Craig
gosh.
Yeah, he's
Oh my
he's
gosh.
thick.
He is
And his son too.
very good. His
Taylor
son,
too.
Taylor's good. Craig's
Is that
good.
the same one as Idiot Cobb?
There's a story behind that. We might get into that in a minute.
Greg calls Taylor Idiot Cobb.
And vice versa. They sign each other up on Tuesday nighters. Whoever they race to the sign-up sheet.
There's going to be one
There's
idiot
going to be
Cobb
one
written
idiot
out.
Cobb, either Taylor and idiot, or idiot and Taylor or and Cobb. It's funny. They're awesome.
But they a couple years ago, they duck hunt. They're big duck
big
hunters.
time.
I mean, big duck hunters. Duck season ran right up to Louisiana team on Caney. They hadn't put a hook in the water.
They ain't re-spooled their rods.
Nothing. They come and Caney's like their worst. Like they hate Caney, and they come out there and win it. They win Caney. The Caney event didn't even pre-fish, didn't do anything, and won it. Now the big bass that day was Paul Clark.
Yeah.
No, it was Matt Gorham.
Matt
Gorham off Caney. It was 10-2.5, I
big
think
fish.
it was. Big
Did
fish.
that ran the whole year, didn't it?
That ran the whole year. Sure did.
How many times do people bring in dead fish?
There's no dead fish.
We
I mean, you don't weigh them.
No.
You don't weigh them. I know, but how many times
Oh,
do
there's
people
been a
have
couple
big?
heartbreaks. There's been a few heartbreaks.
every now and then you'll get one.
People hold them for too long or don't take care of them. And fish care. We could go for 3 hours.
Well, that's what I want to get into. I want you to kind of bring that up a little
Fish
bit.
care. You probably know more about fish
Yeah,
care.
the main thing on fish care, that's my opinion, that's my main thing during this whole tournament is get those fish back in the lake alive. We limit the number of fish a fisherman can have in his boat to 3 at any one time. Now, he can come weigh some in, go back and catch some more, but only 3 at a time. And we do that so they can keep those fish alive. When we get them, we rejuvenate them. That's a chemical. We put them in a vat. We rejuvenate it, re-slimes them, and we get them back in the lake as soon as we can. I think last year, out of all those fish we weighed in, we had 5 or 6 or 7 dead ones.
Yeah.
That was just,
we had mortality at the site is very low. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not going to say there's not a few that die later. That's all been, it's a big conversation about that, but I'm not sure. I'm not a scientist. I don't know. I don't see them floating. I go back every year after the tournament to see if we got any floating. We don't.
Yeah.
But very important. You don't want the public seeing a bunch of dead fish floating around your way inside.
No. And even as a tournament fisherman, you don't want to see a bunch of 8-pounders dying. No. I mean, that's your spawning fish. That's a fish that's going to win you a couple grand.
Well, and that's the beginning of the hard time for fish,
right?
And fish like in a live well. I mean, it's so bad that Icon, the LX models, their live wells have a cooling system on it where you can monitor that so that you can cool your live wells off, keep them cool, and it's got a fizzer where you can put that G-juice in there. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
So I mean, like that's how important. That's how important live well management is to tournament fishing.
Yeah, you just said another word right there, fizz. Fizzing a fish. If they're caught deep, it's just like you coming up from. If you're skin diving and you come up from a depth too fast, you get the bends. Well, the fish do too. That swim bladder doesn't deflate. You put them in your live well, they turn upside down. Now, the fish is still alive. He's still fine, but he can't go back down. He's going to die unless you let the air out of that bladder. And we do that at the weigh-in site. We fizz those fish. They can get back upright and we can turn them loose.
I'll tell you the one at the 11-pounder at Claiborne. We worked for 3 hours with that fish. I was in chest-deep water, holding that fish down, fizzing, swimming her, making sure she was good. Fish care for us is the main priority. We want those fish going back alive.
Yep. What's some things that us fishermen fishing the Majestic or any tournament can do?
Ice. Keep your live well clean.
Okay.
Use hydrogen peroxide in it. A cap full when you first put the water in your live well.
This is pre-tournament?
Pre-tournament. During the tournament.
Okay.
Wash your live well, keep it clean, but put a cap of hydrogen peroxide in the water. Keep your circulation going and keep you some ice. And it's best to have a thermometer where you can keep your water around 70 degrees.
And, of course, G-juice.
Yeah.
G-juice.
Ammonia will form in those live wells. That's why the hydrogen peroxide, it helps get rid of that. Mm-hmm. And hydrogen will put oxygen back in the water, too.
Huh. Just learned me something.
You don't want to use much, just a cap full, but you put it in that live well and don't keep pumping water in your live well.
Recirculate.
Because you can get in a dead area and pump bad water in there and kill your fish.
Yeah.
Well, so
where you catch that first fish, that's where you want to put your water in your live well.
Yep.
And then keep it.
So you can go into a dead area. So there's no oxygen in the water. Mm-hmm. You could, if you're recirculating water from the lake the whole time and you fish, say, in 3 foot of water, and then you get hung up, go to get it off, and you just sucked in a foot of water that's dead, you're killed your fish.
I didn't even think about that. Mm-hmm. See, I don't have a recirculatory pump on mine. I might have an aerator.
Yeah, we've inserted aerators into ours now.
So all I have is I can just pump water in. I can't even pump it out on my Express. I can just pump water into mine, and then I got one of the Spotted Dog, the little pad, little suction cup pad, run a little small hose down to it, and I have it. But that's it. But I need to keep that in mind fishing some shallow water. Is don't pump water in. Just make sure you, I guess, pull ice out of the ice chest, and then just turn the aerator on. Yep. Okay. Well, learn me something there.
You know, your ice is going to have some chemicals in it, but that's why you want to use G-juice, rejuvenate, something like that. It kills that chemical
chlorine type stuff.
Yeah.
So ice, clean water, pumping fresh water in.
Little
You did
hydrogen peroxide.
A cap full of hydrogen peroxide, and then a little bit of G juice.
Yep.
Okay. That's easy enough.
Keeps you fish alive.
How many boats y'all expecting this year? We said it's going to be a lot, but
It's hard to say. You know, it's really hard to say. Last year, like I said, was the lowest we ever had, 137. I blame a lot of that on the economy.
Yeah.
You know, and another thing is so many tournaments now. Guys have got to pick and choose. There's one every weekend, and most of them are $200, $250 entry fee.
Yeah.
Only so many of them you can fish a month, you know.
yeah.
Let me ask you this. You just said there's so many tournaments. And I think we said one time there was 55 scheduled tournaments
For this
on
year.
Lake
On
Darbonne
Lake
for this
Darbonne.
year.
Yeah.
So, and yours is one of the last before the summer because tournaments don't happen in the summer mainly because it's just so hot.
Right.
Do you think it's harder to catch a fish in Darbonne in June because they've been sore-lipped from January all the way to the Majestic?
No.
Okay.
Not even close. So
The reason that the Majestic is when it is because that's the optimum time for day fishing and night fishing.
I got you. Okay. Because I thought about that yesterday. I'm like, man, those fish, there's got to be some of the fish that have been caught multiple times.
Yeah.
And they're just like any other animal. You know, it's like that old Tom Turkey. You shoot at him one time,
he's gone.
Tight lip.
you ain't going to hear nothing from that rascal.
They get, I won't say smart, but they get leery of stuff
Yeah.
after they caught a few times.
And we've had this happen. You break off on a fish, just you set the hook, nothing. Retie, get everything done. Come back 30 minutes later, throw back out there, catch the fish. He's got your hook
In
in
there.
there. You just caught the same fish you just broke off on. So the sore mouth thing, yes, it does happen. But if that fish is hungry,
It's going
he
to
gonna eat.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And talking about so many tournaments, us ourselves, we put 57 tournaments on this year between the Tuesday nights, Saturday night tournaments, a couple Louisiana teams, Taylor
Benefit
uh,
Fisher
tournaments.
We do a lot of benefit tournaments, Hooks for Hope, things of that nature.
And that's just them.
Yeah, that's just us.
That's not Tertia.
media.
Greg Tertia out of Ruston has the media.
Mm-hmm.
And see, with Louisiana team moves around North Louisiana. We hit Darbonne one time. Tertia, they hit the local area. So they may hit Darbonne
three to four times.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got it 3 to 4 times on the schedule.
Yeah. And that's a great tournament
Mm-hmm.
trail. Media. Real good tournament. Greg does a great job.
Yeah, he does do. You do a little talking for him from time to time.
Well, I do
don't you?
Louisiana team.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah,
Louisiana
that man
team.
right there got me involved in that.
The Louisiana
story.
team.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll never
How'd that
forget.
happen?
I walked
that's
into
easy.
K&M one night because we were doing the buck contest, and he was sitting there, and he said, "Hey," and I got to give Justin Bailey a little credit too. Bailey was sitting there, and Mr. Dale brought up the fact that at what was ARCLA team at that time, he said, we're trying to be a little bit more professional in what we have been, put a professional trail in North Louisiana. We need a good MC, and we want you to do it. I said, Mr. Dale, I've never even been to a bass tournament, much less a weigh-in, much less know how to talk at one. He said, all you got to do is do exactly what you do up there for them bucks. I was like, okay. I said, I don't know. And Bailey looked at me and said, you need to do this. And I was like, okay. And I was in a real weird spot in my life. I mean, I was feeling like after deer season, man, I felt like I was just useless. Like there was nothing for me to look forward to. So Louisiana team or ARCLA at the time just really, I ain't gonna say saved my life, but they changed my life a lot because I get to hang out with these guys now. I get to learn and be around guys like Connor Nimrod, like Craig and Taylor Cobb, Santos and Walt Mitchell. That's another one.
Walt Stevens.
Walt Stevens, yeah. Ooh, there's your one.
Hammer.
You know, Greg, in this area, we probably got as good a fishermen as there are anywhere in the country. Some of the people that's fished the Majestic are Lee Legacies. Anybody know that name? Mm-hmm. Walt, Todd Reisinger, Jake Armand, Tyler Stewart,
Colby Dart.
Brennan.
Colby.
Yeah, Colby Dart. These guys are all fishing professionally. Maybe not full time. Now Lee is.
Yeah, Lee is.
But
yeah.
They're all from right here. Now, Lee actually is from Texas, but he was going to
ULM.
ULM,
Yeah.
and he fished every tournament he could that I was putting on at the time.
You got a good story about Lee.
Lee was struggling for money at the time. He just didn't have much. And he had a little, well, it wasn't aluminum. It was a
Little ball bitty fiberglass.
little fiberglass boat.
How long ago was this?
This was in,
He was in college at ULM.
yeah, he was in college at ULM.
Okay.
It was back around 2015, 2014, somewhere in there. But he had a little 40 horse on that thing, and he had a gas can. Well, he'd run up Little Darbonne, he'd catch a fish, and instead of coming all the way back around, he'd beach at Folly Beach, get his fish, and run across the road to weigh it in. Because he didn't have no gas. He ran out of gas a couple of times. But he's a hammer.
Yeah, he really
He
is.
said, "Can I go ahead and get my check so I can go to the gas tank and go get me some gas so I can go back and win another check?"
That's what I'm talking about.
And he would do it.
Talk about the grind.
There's so many memories of the Majestic. I mean, I've been a part of it since I was 5.
Yeah, a
Little
little
bitty dude, toting fish around, helping the old man get his fish out of the boat.
Ross
Cagle. I can't walk up that hill. Come get my fish. I'll be 8 years old. This is Ross's. He said, "Weigh it."
He said, "Weigh it." You know Ross Cagle? Oh yeah, he was a pro.
Yeah, Ross
was a pro.
good. And Ross and I used to team together.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Good guy. My favorite memory of the Majestic has nothing to do with fish. Well, I say it. Me and Joe Booth fished it.
Yeah.
2007.
Really? I did not know this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so we were sitting. I can't remember if we were sitting under the Stowe Creek Bridge because it was hot or because it was raining.
Probably both.
But we were sitting underneath that bridge, and that's the first place I told somebody other than my family I was going to be a daddy.
That's awesome.
We were sitting there, and that's my best friend. I looked at him and said, "I got something to tell you." He said, "What?" I said, we got a little baby coming in January." And he looked at me, and I was like, "Yeah." And it's like, wow. I wasn't expecting that.
This is your
I was like, yeah. He said, "I wasn't expecting that." And I was like, "I wasn't either, brother."
Actually got one coming Monday.
Yeah,
you got a baby coming.
Yeah,
There
you got
you
to
go.
pop. You got a little girl. How old is she? 3?
She's 3 on Saturday.
Yeah, got the little boy.
On Monday.
What's his name?
Aiden.
Sweet little Aiden.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, he'll be winning the Majestic and give him 3 or 4 summers. He'll
probably
be out there
will.
winning it.
This was your great granddaddy's spot. Make a cast right there.
Look,
So-
go ahead.
Daniel.
Yes.
We were, this just happened one day. We were at the grand opening or the ribbon cutting for the Darbonne Marine, and Daniel told me, he's like, "Hey, we're doing a tournament tomorrow." I said, "Really?" I was like, "Why didn't you say something?" He's like, "Well, it's a benefit tournament. We're not." I said, "Look, I want to come out. I want to hang out. I want to do something. I want to go out there and just, MC it for him." He's like, "Okay." So I show up the next day, and we're sitting there. Now this is just a benefit tournament. This is not like the Sticks of the Sticks. These are just some guys. And so we're weighing in fish. And Daniel and I have a little something that we do. And I hear him go, "Ooh." I know it's one of two things. We either got a big sack of fish or we got a big fish. Okay. I was expecting a big sack. And I was like, "Oh, we got a big sack." And Daniel's eyes were this big around. He said, "No, we got a big fish." He said, "This might be the biggest fish I've ever weighed in a tournament." And he came out, and it was just a normal guy.
Yeah.
What was it? 1049,
10, something like that.
Something like that.
Yep.
Off Darbonne, just right down there at Bowie's. And that was just, I really hope that you guys get to do that this first weekend of June.
Oh, yeah.
Take it to
We're
put one of
counting on
those like that.
We're counting on it.
God, that
This
would be so cool.
lake is fishing so good for so many people. It's a bigger chance this year than it has in a long time.
We hit on a little something earlier with forward-facing sonar. How much do you think that has changed the fishing at the Majestic?
I don't think it's changed it a lot. There's guys that for years, the guy that won the first stringer in Majestic in 1999 caught him on the channel on a crankbait. He didn't have no forward-facing sonar. But yeah, it's changed some. I mean, it's not as hard to go out and find fish now. But there's certain places on that lake they're at every year.
Yeah.
Every year. You can run up there and look and say, well, they're not there. You can run over there and look and say, oh, there they are, But it'll change during the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forward-facing sonar is a tool. If you know how to use it, great. Everybody's got the opportunity to get it if they want it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of the older guys don't like it because, let's face it, we're just not technically savvy like the younger guys. I'm not, you know. Daniel's got one on my boat. I ain't never turned it on. So, I mean, I got a cane pole. I stick it down in the water, and if it's
See how
deeper than
deep
that
it
cane
is.
pole, I'm too deep. You know, I need to go
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their opinion of it. Some that just don't like to see the progress, I guess, really are down on it because they think like, you know, I'm fishing for second, third, fourth, or fifth when I get out there because I can't win against them guys. That's not a good attitude. Not a good thing.
It goes back to what Connor said. It's a drive. You're born or can make that move into, hey, I'm going to be the one that's going to win this. No matter whether you throw a frog all day or go out there with a minnow and shake it in front of an 8-pounder's face for 2 hours. It's built into a fisherman. This is the hard thing that I'm going to do, and I'm going to win doing this, or you don't need to be fishing.
I don't know if Ben used it last year at all, but right now I couldn't tell you of anyone that's won it just using hard-facing sonar.
Right.
They just saw a fish and said, that's the one that's going to win it. I'm going to stay on it for 8 hours and make this one going to bite.
I know Chris Patton probably uses it a lot too.
Yeah.
And Chris won the stringer one year, several years ago. He could have been using it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But is it a tool? Does it work? Yes. Mm-hmm. Is there tournaments that have been won on it? This year, yes.
It does not make a fish bite.
No.
Oh, you're 100% right about that.
And that could go we could go on into boats.
Oh yeah.
What's his face has got a tiller handle. He can't go where I go. Well, you got the same amount of money. Why didn't you buy a tiller handle? Why did you buy a glass boat, a Phoenix or a Vexus that doesn't move in the waves? Well, you bought that because you have a live scope. You want to fish deep. They bought a 12-foot Ranger because they want to get out in the sticks.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it too is money, you know, advertising money. The guys that build depth finders are big in the industry, you know. There's a lot of money there. Same thing with aluminum boats versus
Fiberglass
boats. Now, aluminum seems to be coming back quite a bit, but I can remember back when I ran media bass years ago, there was a big controversy over going to the river and not allowing somebody to come in an aluminum boat that had the live wheel and everything else because they could get in different places that the fiberglass boat can. Buy you an aluminum boat.
Yeah.
You know?
That's right. So earlier, one of the first questions you asked or mentioned was that Darbonne is fishing, you know, is fishing better than it has recently. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that, Mr. Dale? You've probably, have anybody on this table, you've been around Lake Darbonne longer than all of us. Has it showed ebbs and flows before?
Oh, yeah. Every lake does. Every lake does. You know, last year I put together a lot of the numbers. In fact, you saw it, I think.
He had a stat sheet, looked like Moneyball or whatever that thing is.
If you looked over that 13 years, it was just like a wave, you know. And you wanted to say, yeah, let's find where they drew it down. Watch where they drew it down. Well, it didn't happen. What showed more than anything was the 2016 flood. It was 5 years before that lake came back.
Yeah.
Why was that?
Do what?
Why was that?
It just changed everything. Now, you talk about fish leaving the lake. When the river's backed up over the dam, I imagine.
Yeah.
100%.
And you look at any major flood, Washita River is terrible. You look at the Red River after 16 flood. Man, you had 20-something pound sacks.
The Red River has never come back.
I mean, it was if you didn't have 20 pounds, you weren't cutting check. Now, if you got 11, you're going to win.
That's the Red River?
Yeah.
Dude,
the 2016 flood run it.
That used to be the place over there in Shreveport. And now it's gone. It's terrible. You see 11 pounds, 3-pounders winning big bass, whenever it used to be 28 pounds with the 8-pounder winning big bass.
When's the last time Darbonne has fished as good as it's fished right now?
Probably last year.
Well, I mean, okay, so here's the thing, though.
It was definitely
the way,
year.
I was going to say this earlier when we were talking about Claiborne, I don't remember, it was pretty recently, but I think maybe me and my brother-in-law, Nick Joyner, we were talking about it. I think it was him that said it. He's like, the way people are talking about Darbonne now is the way people were talking about Claiborne 3 to 4 years ago.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, again, it's every lake ebbs and flows. Every one of them. Except maybe Lake Fork. Did you watch the Bass Masters
my
this weekend?
goodness.
Yeah,
It
that
was
young guy got on there.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
10 guys weighed over 100 pounds. And the only reason it was only 10 is because they were the only 10 that got to fish that last day.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It was wild.
With that being said, you can't compare a Texas lake to a Louisiana lake.
No, it's
completely.
It is.
You got people that are putting so much time and money into a Texas lake compared to a Louisiana lake. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
Probably the last one was the year that Pody won
2016.
Big Bass and Stringer. He had a 9 and weighed 26 pounds.
Yeah. And that was a great year.
And I had a picture of the top 7 fish that were all over 6.5. Had several of them over 7. It was a good year. That was
2016 or 17.
2017. No, 2015.
15.
Yeah, 15
Yeah,
before the
before
16.
That was
Before the flood.
You're talking about 10 years ago.
that would probably been the equivalent to now.
Yeah, I know with all the fish that we just put out, I mean, we were all a part of that. You came out there.
I was a little late, you know. I have a job, Nolan. I have a job.
That's why I'm glad. I do too, Greg. I
call-
do too.
I'm messing with Nolan.
You came out there and you filmed that day.
Yeah.
And and that's what I was saying. Like everybody's had some part of it where you've talked about it. You actually netted or like caught the fish or the fingerlings and helped put them out. But keeping on and doing that kind of stuff is
and I'm
good.
glad to see, because for years I have always heard that they just dumped them right there at the launch.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've always heard. And I was really glad to see that they brought a boat and we took them where they gonna have some cover.
Yep.
And really, in my opinion, you took them to one of the best places, because I used to live over there. That dude's full of grass back there, man.
especially now.
Yeah.
Like go
Where
through
we
there
went.
and dude, yeah. What you live
Yeah,
right
I
there
live right
by.
there.
You know Darbonne as good as anybody, especially at this table or even in this area. Like you're on it all. If you ain't mowing yards,
I'm fishing.
you're fishing. You're on
may
it all
be
the time.
Over after next week, but right now, yes.
For a little while.
It'll be all right. It'll line itself back out. But I was out there for like 2 or 2.5 hours. Like you called me that morning. You're like, hey, today's the day. I was like, all right, I'm turning around. I was heading to Lake Providence. I turned around, went and got my stuff, and then came right on out there. But I was out there just live scoping. I was fishing some. Don't get me wrong. If I saw a fish, I threw at it. But I was going out there just trying to find some flats with grass in, or just trying to, like you were telling me, like, look, this is the kind of stuff you need to be looking for. I talked to a few different people. Here's what we think you need to be looking for, which it all coincided with what you were saying. Like everybody was saying the same thing. So I was out there swapping it back and forth between perspective and forward mode, finding just the best cover and grass that I could. And man, we went and we dumped fish in every single one of them. I mean, 300,000 fish. Well, it was 120,000 that day.
So they did
120.
They do
120,000.
They do a yearly 300,000.
Yep. And so 300,000 Florida, was it F1s?
Yeah.
F1s.
Pure Florida strain is F1.
Yeah, they were some mean looking son of a guns. They were killing some tadpoles
Dude,
4 or 5 times our size in there too.
If we stack 300,000 bass, I bet we stock 200,000 freaking tadpoles that big. I mean, huge.
Oh, we got some good frogs.
That's what I
man.
told whenever we were doing them out. I said, I cannot wait till the end of the year. I'm going
know,
to jump
that's
on
right.
these songs.
Did you find you something, Dale?
Well, I was looking for that picture I had of Pody and the rest of them, but I don't see it.
I've got it. I could send it.
And you're talking about stocking fish. And we got a lot of static, about you stocked them the year before the drawdown. They're all going to go out to lake. And if you talk to the wildlife and fisheries, and, they're not always some of my favorite people, but they'll tell you, look, we put 200,000 fingerlings in there. If we get 500 of them to
Mature.
yeah. We've done good, and it's true. Just think about it. If they put 500,000 in there and they all got big,
Carrying capacity
run the
would.
lake.
Yeah, carrying capacity would be
Who
on
would
well.
have these shad?
but that's the very reason they put so many in there, is because the mortality is going to be very high.
Well,
A lot of them get eaten, and a lot of them just not going to make it,
And I don't know from where they're pulling it, like the fish and looking at the genetics and everything, but I don't think there's a whole lot difference between a big whitetail buck and a big 8 or 10 pound bass. you've got to have the makeup to be able to get there.
That's
Not
exactly
every
right.
deer is going to grow. Look, it don't matter if they're here or in Kansas. We see deer in Kansas all the time that are 6.5, 7.5-year-old deer that look like dozers walking. Big tanks and dozers walking through there, and they score 105 inches.
Yeah.
You know, and so same thing with fish.
You look at deer and you look at fish, and the same thing. Mineral. You have a lake that's very prosperous in the mineral and just the whole makeup of a
rich lake.
A rich lake. So Caney is a rich lake. You got giants, and it's mostly a Florida strain lake. I mean, they stocked it with Floridas. They have Floridas. They have more Floridas than Darbonne. But Darbonne, it gets filtered so much through. We get so much rain, so much runoff that it's hard for nutrients to stay in the water. So it's harder to grow a big bass in Lake Darbonne than say Claiborne or Caney. Same thing like Kansas has got richer soil, richer everything.
Well, it's a lot of ag too.
Yeah, there's a lot of ag.
There's parts of Kansas that you go around. I mean, you go around some Morehouse Parish stuff and Richland Parish. There's some. There's good soil. There is, but I'm referring to the soil. There's as good soil there as it is in any other part of the country. But you go and you look at the amount of ag that they have and in the type of agriculture they have there. Dude, up there in Kansas, that's a big part of it too. The soil's great, don't get me wrong, but there's part of it like around us where we hunt, the soil's not all that great. It's really not. But every field is alfalfa, wheat, milo. There is very, very, very good food sources in every section for those deer to choose from in that part of the world, and it's not here. But that's besides the point. I'm not going to say who y'all think. I think y'all probably have heard this, but it's not come out yet, so I'm not going to say who. But somebody they're talking about instead of stocking bass, they're talking about stocking a bunch of brim.
Yeah.
And
I've heard that.
And so, have you heard that?
I have not, but the Farmerville Volunteer Fire Department will be glad to hear this.
One thing they're talking about that is going back to your plankton, old phytoplankton. But you know, it kind of all stems from there.
Right.
But
Stuff to eat.
Something for them to eat.
Well, and that was something I wanted to ask you about, Mr. Dale and Daniel. You know, we know of carrying capacity for deer. You know, your land will only have enough groceries for the animals. You get over that, your animals are going to be smaller. Lakes, same way.
Yeah. You know, you're talking about deer and bass and a relation between the two. It's a lot more than you think. Those animals are very similar. What does a deer like? He likes the edge of something.
Yep.
You know, he's going to be where the food is. He's going to be where the water is. A bass, excuse me, he likes the edge. He wants the edge of a grass line. He likes to be around a tree where he can stake out his territory. Very similar in their habits. I did an article on Henry Rahilly. You know him?
I remember Mr. Henry.
Henry was one of the best deer hunters around and one of the best bass fishermen.
Yes, he was. Yes, he is.
That was one of the things when I interviewed Henry, and of course I'd known Henry for years, that he stressed. He said they act just alike. And that's something that stuck right here with me, you know. And he's right.
Which makes sense.
It does.
Early morning bite, late afternoon bite.
Right.
All night.
Nighttime.
Spawn
Yeah.
and rut.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right.
When's the easiest time to kill a buck?
In the rut.
In the
In
rut.
the rut. When's the easiest time to catch a bass?
Spawn.
When he's on the bed.
Yep.
You can see him and know what you're trying to do.
So you said something about brim. So we had the Farmerville Volunteer Fire Department 17th annual Big Bill Young Memorial Brim Tournament. Do you know how many pounds the group that won the overall weight brought in?
How many fish was it?
A bunch.
You could bring in as many fish as you wanted to.
my gosh.
Brim. As many brim as you wanted to.
I have no
and
idea.
they fished for 4 hours.
Oh, they could have
4 or
brought
5
in
hours.
500, 600 brim.
I have no idea.
Almost 60 pound of brim.
Lord.
Joe said he stopped counting at 110. He said, I guess we probably had around 160, maybe
This was
180.
two-man?
Two-man team.
Wow.
How many brim can you keep on
100
Darbonne?
apiece.
100 apiece.
Dang it, boy, dude.
And now, this is what I asked him because I wanted to see, because of this podcast, I called him yesterday. I said, hey, this is what we're going to talk about. I said, I got a question for you. I said, how did forward-facing sonar help you because if I'm not mistaken, Joe, of all that group, he's probably going to be the best with forward. He said, oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. He said, what it is, I pulled up, I could scan. I knew where my beds were. He said, but I knew where it was yesterday or the day before. I would scan because them brim are going to move a little bit. Right. He said, I could find them versus throwing 15, 20 minutes figuring out. He said, I go, there they are.
Yep.
Just like that. So it's gone from mainly a crappie fishing tool to now they're using it for all kind of stuff. Right. Brim fishing, man.
Yeah.
And you look at Caney. What do they do over there now? Side image.
Big chinky pins.
Side image and cheeky pin beds and 5 foot of water.
That's exactly
there
right.
They are. We're fixing to have some fun.
And they got some big
giants.
Ones,
Yep.
You know, Mike Clark brought a chinky pin in this past weekend. Weighed 1 pound.
Wow.
You know, I used to, in fact, I live on Stowe Creek too, and there used to be a chinky pin bed almost right behind my house. It was a little bit further toward the back. Out in the lake on a ridge every year. We go out there at Easter and catch them. Can't find them now. I have not found a chinky pin bed in probably 6 or 7 years.
You know, there used to be some up around State Park too.
Yeah.
They used to catch a good many of them
Can't
up around
find
State Park.
You'll catch 1 or 2 now and then in with the bluegills. You know, pure chinky pin. Not many.
Now, you ask about forage or sustaining how many fish can be in a lake and all that.
Yeah.
It all depends on forage.
Gotcha.
I mean, and if you look at Darbonne, I mean, you've seen them. You scan for about 5 minutes, you're going to see a ball of shad that's longer than your boat and 3 boats stacked on top of each other. Yeah. There is so much forage and variety of forage in Darbonne. It could probably sustain, and I don't know 100%, but it could probably sustain double what it's sustaining because there is so much bait. So much bait.
Yeah.
Has it always been like that, having that much bait?
Yeah, I could
Pretty much, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
100%.
You can go out on a boat at night. It's got all the big lights.
And
you can walk on the
You can walk
shed.
on it. There's so much feed for
They're
fish.
everywhere.
You get to the right time of night and shoot a spotlight beam, and it's just as far as you can see.
Wow.
What kind of shad is it?
Thread fins and gizzards.
Yep. A lot of gizzards in that place.
Yeah.
Really?
Mhm.
Big ones.
Big, huge. And whenever you see those jumping out of the water, hang on. Because there's something chasing him, and he's going to be big.
Yeah, that's what those big gizzard shad. That's what people are looking for. You hear that, the thread fin, but those big gizzards. I'm still going to throw in those what feels like multi-$1,000, 2 foot long glide baits around, trying to mimic those big gizzard shad, and they're catching whoppers
Speaking
with
of
them.
that, Chris Patton makes Ditch Donkey. He's sponsoring the tournament. He makes a phenomenal bait.
Really?
Yeah, he
A
does.
phenomenal glide bait.
It's impressive, son. So I went with Colby
Yeah.
last year, I think,
Y'all called him pretty good.
and he was like, "Watch this." He throws out into the middle of nothing.
That long glide bait.
It is. It's huge. I'm like, where you salt water?
Yeah.
He slings, and it hits the water. And he said, "Watch the screen." And he snatched it. And about that time, it was like a rocket, boom, come off the bottom, and it had a bucket mouth on it like it. And I'm like, "Where'd you get Ditch Donkey?" Just like that, Chris Patton. I was like, "Golly."
How much are they? Do you know?
I can't remember right off the top of my head.
I mean,
I know-
a lot of
he's
times
made a
they're
lot.
they're a few $100.
Oh, no, I don't think
No, I
his,
don't think
I don't
they
think
are.
his are
That
200.
much. Oh, really?
I think
Yeah.
they're right at, and I may be
I
speaking
want to
out
say
of
70.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll look in a little bit.
Maybe. I'm not going to speak out of ignorance, but
Well, I will
He's-
because everybody knows. Chris, if I undershot you, baby, I'm sorry.
but speaking of sponsors, we have got a ton of them this year.
Yeah.
Everybody jumped on board. Town of Farmerville jumped on board. Burns Mechanical, Freeman Lumber, and Russ. They have a bait. You went over and
Yeah.
shot it. They have a great bait selection over there.
They really do.
Honey Hole, Toledo Tackle, Turgis, with many more. I know I'm forgetting
Yeah,
some
that you're
people,
going
but
for.
there is
Yeah.
so many people that are on board, and it wasn't hard. You walk up there, you say the Majestic name, they're like, "Oh yeah, Dale Taylor. That thing's been going on for 20. Y'all get like 100 something boats. Heck yeah, we'll sponsor that."
Yeah.
And it's even more now since we started social media. We're advertising for like EK Marine and his Bass Cats or Darbonne Marine and everything they do because I love Terry.
Everyone loves Terry
Terry's awesome.
and Darbonne Marine. People that are quote unquote competitors of Darbonne Marine
Love Terry.
still love Terry, still love Darbonne Marine. But yeah, y'all go in and advertising and that's one thing that you do is like I know you'd rather be in front of the camera than behind the camera, But you've done a lot. You've done a lot with them.
Yeah, I
on
enjoy
some
helping them
content,
out. I
helping
enjoy
get
Greg.
stuff out, and it's worked.
Yeah.
It's worked. It's working.
It hadn't always been that easy.
No.
For years, I ran this tournament solely on my own. Daniel's really picked up the slack on getting the advertising. He's done a great, phenomenal job. He's gotten Greg to do some advertising for us,
Great
and
videos.
it's paying off.
Great video.
Yeah.
It's one thing too we hadn't mentioned. The town of Farmerville is what I would call our title sponsor, or one of them. And because they have gotten involved with this tournament big time, we're able to pay $2,500 for the biggest bass this year and $2,500 for the heaviest stringer.
That's a lot
And
of
that's
money.
guaranteed.
It's guaranteed. We've never had guaranteed. That's the biggest thing that I tell people. Oh, you'll probably get 100 boats and won't pay worth of crap. I'm like, hey, we got guaranteed money. If one person shows up, he's going to walk away with it.
And I can tell you right now,
That means a lot.
If you usually, I'm going to say usually, but a lot of the time, I can say a lot of the time, if you win big bass, you're probably going to win big stringer. So you might walk away with $5,000.
Right.
I think the most that Kenny Covington won 7,000. Pody won about 7,500.
I won 5,000.
Yeah, but you only won
One side.
one side. The heavy stringer's going to win more money.
He's gonna win more
because
hours.
he's winning
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
hours. But if you win both, that's where the big money's at.
Yeah.
You're winning
What's
10.
what's typical hourly payout? Just rough.
500
For first.
Yeah, for first. 5, 4, 3, and 2. I think is what we're paying.
And
this
you
year.
win multiple
That is
hours.
strong, son. Yeah,
Very.
yeah. You're winning. Yeah. You're
I'd
gonna
say
win.
we're going to pay out between 20 and 25,000.
How many checks did we cut?
60.
checks.
You got
You got
60
60
chances
chances.
to win.
You fishing, old Greg?
They really
You got
pushing it out
60
there
chances.
strong. I'm going to have to check my schedule, make sure I'm not scheduled already because
That's a good percentage. I
strong.
mean, you get 150 boats, you cutting 60 checks.
yeah.
Now, that's not saying that Santos won't win 10 of
Yeah,
them.
no,
Yeah.
or Walt come up there and win.
Or Walt or
Yeah.
somebody,
Yeah.
But at the
But
same
then
time,
again, there you have your hammers that are, like Santos Mitchell. He's going to go and he's going to catch. He's one that I need to get on here. Like I told you that day, I've never even met him before.
he's a good dude.
If you're
a dude.
listening,
Awesome.
He is.
I've
yeah.
heard that.
He's listening.
Get him and
Don't
Walt.
worry.
Yeah, everybody I've talked to, I've heard that. So Santos, he still had the white Vexus.
Yeah.
Camus.
Camus.
Yeah.
Next time I see you, not going to be shy. You're going to listen to this podcast. I'm going to come track you down, and we'll do a podcast right there on the water. But I want to get you on. But you have your guys like that that they're going to produce. But that's the thing, though. Just like those two guys you're talking about earlier that came in right there as the buzzer was going off for those hourly payouts. One of them was 8 or 9:06, and the other one was 11 something or whatever it was. You just have your random things that could happen during that tournament.
And you look at that time of year, there's still a shad spawn. You land on that, it don't matter. It don't matter if you're good or not.
Oh
Just
my
throw
gosh.
the kitchen sink at them and reel them in.
I didn't think that shad spawn will still be rolling on.
Oh yeah,
in June
it'll still
like that.
roll on. It'll be at the tail end.
Dude, that's only 2 weeks away. I mean, we keep saying that. That's only 2
It
weeks.
ain't far.
I tell you who you need to get on is Walt.
Yes, Walt
That boy
Stevens.
is knowledgeable.
He's
very
out of Homer,
knowledgeable.
Louisiana.
Nah, I may not have met him then.
Walt Stevens.
Okay.
He's a Claiborne killer, man. Dude can go
Not
out there.
just
and-
Walt's
He
good
goes
everywhere
to
he goes.
Texas, and
Yeah,
all
he
them
is.
Texas hands are like, "Oh no, we got to
Not
deal with this
Walt.
guy again."
Yeah, he's good, man. He really, really is. I mean, there's a lot of folks out there that are good. And Walt, he's one of them.
He's solid.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, I could name 20 people or
Oh,
20
man, yeah.
teams.
We could sit here and just talk about it
just
all
talk
day.
about the people that are fishing and what their strengths are and how they're going to beat this person.
I mean, we
and
haven't
not.
named two of who I think, if they get in the Majestic, I feel like they probably would. Kevin Jennings.
If he's not fishing somewhere else, he'll be in it.
Yeah. And that's one that
And
could.
Jason.
Oh, man. Hey, he and Jason are the only 2-time winners in the same year.
Yeah.
In the Louisiana team circuit. And I mean, they some strong ones.
And-
there.
well,
they
they're-
won last year so convincingly that I got to the tournament. Weigh-in's not till 3 o'clock. I got to the tournament over at Claiborne about 1?
They were still
I
there.
pulled up.
Yeah.
They're sitting
And
there.
and Daniel's like, "Well, there's your winner." I was like, "What?" He said, "Yeah, they've been sitting there a couple of hours. They done caught all the fish they needed, and I mean, they brought in some.
This
Woo.
is what they said. We can't cull a 4-pounder.
Exactly.
Like, we just need to take care of what we got right now. We are trying to cull a 4-pounder. We're not.
And that's on Darbonne. They won Darbonne. They won Claiborne, didn't they?
And they were early to the Darbonne one too.
Yeah.
Well, they're the reigning anglers of the year, and they're leading this year after 2 tournaments.
Mr. Dale, what makes a group of guys or just someone like that, what makes them so potent and so deadly?
Chemistry.
You talking about the internal makeup of them, or
of the team?
Of the team.
the chemistry of the team?
yeah.
Work, okay.
You can look at crappie fishing the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at who was it, Chris Fields?
Yeah. Chris Fields and Jared.
You look at how they fish together. One man is taking care of fish, netting fish, getting rods ready, and the other one's fishing. And it looks like a machine is working.
Oh, hey, you ever heard the name Hayden Jeffries?
That too.
I want to get Hayden on so bad.
Watched them fish, he and his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured out how come they're so good.
Yeah.
Hayden's up front watching that screen. When he hooks a fish,
Hands a rod.
that right hand goes to his dad. The left hand goes back here. He grabs an empty rod. He's back fishing. Mr. Dan takes care of everything else. And so I timed it, and it's like 8 seconds. There's not a naked hook in the water. And I mean, if you do that all day long, you're keeping a unbaited line unfished, ready to go lure right there in front of the fish the majority of the day. The odds are with you.
And with bass fishing, you could say the same thing, but they also know, hey, I'm going to fish fast, you fish slow. You fish the bottom, I'll fish the top. That kind of chemistry together is like, okay, we know if we do this, we're going to win.
Well, I'll tell you this. I've noticed Santos and Walt are really good. And we know Santos can fish. Walt leaves, Santos gets somebody else. He doesn't do as good.
That's right.
It's a chemistry thing, man. I don't think I've ever seen one of our guys with an alternate come in
and win.
Right.
That is not
I don't think I've ever seen it.
The most phenomenal thing that I've seen in a long time was the championship on Black Lake.
Oh my gosh.
Where
60,
Walt
80.
and Santos weighed
Son,
10
Dave
fish. It weighed 60 pounds.
Showed slap out, son.
That's stupid too. That's just what, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
No, that
that
was
was in March.
2 months
March.
ago.
It was
Okay.
March.
So I was talking with Walt, and I'm like, how competitive is it? He said, this group right here is so competitive. I knew the first day coming back, I think he stopped about halfway. He told Santos, he said, take all the lures off.
Yeah.
He's like, well, he's take all the lures off.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is because when they come up, people are going to come up and, act like they're casually having conversation, but they're looking at what you're fishing with.
But with that though, here's the thing, and I told Connor this. Connor has told me places. I've called him. I'm like, dude, I'm going to fishing this body of water. We use Caney as the last place. Use Caney for example. And this is when he was going, and I'm talking about before the tournaments really got fired up, and he's not posting what he's catching.
No.
I'm talking about there is freaking fat and as big around as that turtle box right there, or that lesser Canadian goose, just massive, big bucket mouth thing like you're talking about. He's catching one after another. I'm talking about just catching 8, 9, 10 pounders like it's nobody's business. I call him, I'm like, dude, you ain't got to tell me your sweet spot. And of course, Connor's like, no, I'll drop a pin to you. Here's a bait that I'm using. Here's how I present it. Here's how to get to face your boat, all this other stuff. I'm like, thank you. And I don't catch a fish.
You
I
can't
see
catch
them.
the other man's fish.
I see the fish down there. I'm looking at them. I go and I see the fish in the grass, and I'm looking at the fish, and I'm just fishing what he's telling me to fish. And in the presentation, and guess what? I don't catch the man's fish.
You can't catch another man's fish.
Well, too, I've learned something. These guys that are good with a forward-facing sonar can look at a fish and the way he's acting and tell you, that fish ain't going to bite.
That's right.
And move right.
Yeah.
Brennan, we're at Caney. That's exactly what he did. And that's the first time I've ever seen it firsthand. Like I've seen Tyler Stewart and guys like video of them doing it. But firsthand being in the boat with somebody, you go up and you see, or Brennan, he sees a fish. And he looks at it for a second, and it's not like it's literally 1 second drives off, but he'll go and look at it. He may pitch to it. He's like,
That ain't going to bite.
nope, and goes right on wasting. And it could be, the return is massive. It could be, again, as big as that Canadian goose or that turtle box. He don't care.
It's all about
He's
how
going
that
on
fish
to the
sets
next
up.
one.
It's all about how that fish sets up.
Yep.
If he does not set up to feed, nope.
You said chemistry a while ago. That's one thing that I think everybody thrives. It don't matter if it's fishing or what it is, but like the videos and stuff that me and you do, you have some really, really, really good ideas, but you throw me into the mix, it makes them better. Let me say this. I have some good ideas sometimes, but when I throw Greg into the mix, it puts them over the top. Same thing with y'all. So it's not something special about me that came out wrong, but when you have two people kind of jiving and just working with each other and talking through some ideas, whether it's you're running your boat or you're doing something, you have two minds, both of them know what they're doing, especially get that chemistry of them working together. Like, hey, I know Greg, he does really good at this kind of stuff. With these conditions we have, it might be pretty salty over there.
Yeah.
Let's go try it out. And so being a team player and working like that, we always do better when we have somebody that may not think exactly like us, but just brings different ideas to the table.
That's related. That's related to your own ideas.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I was glad to see the other day? We're going to shift gears just a minute.
Come on.
We're going to go back to Darbonne, okay?
Come on.
There's a guy that he and his dad used to fish with us. And they were some of my favorites. But I guess because we spread out a little bit and we started traveling some folks, see, Louisiana team, we go from Shreveport all the way back over here. So that's a long, for pre-fishing, these guys got to travel all the way to Shreveport. Some folks just like, I can't make that travel. And that's cool. But I saw Nick Silvestri at media this weekend. Well, it was with his son. He was with his kid.
Yeah.
And I was his dad's Rocco. I absolutely love Mr. Rocco. Good guy. But Nick came in at media. Now, these are should be nearing post spawn. And he won it with 25 pounds, just over 25 pounds.
On Darbonne. In May.
That's strong, baby. That is strong. And that right there, we do a good job with Louisiana team with our presentation. Terja and Rick with their Facebook Live. Have you seen it?
Oh, yeah. No, it's solid. It's
Dude,
good.
it is the best, I think, even of the pro circuits, because they've got the fish, the thing right over the fish. It's just, they do a great job.
Do y'all have a tank like that where you keep fish?
Well, they've got a sink that he's.
Well, we got a bump station. We finally got a bump station because this man right here looked like he'd baptize somebody every week.
Now, I don't know how my brother still stays dry. He does. Every time we walk up, I'm like, how are you doing this? He's like, I take my time. I was like, yeah, and I had to rush the whole time.
So we have a bump station, which I really like the bump station.
At the Majestic?
No, at the Majestic. No,
that's what I'm talking about, it's the Majestic. Because do y'all do any live?
Yeah, I did last year a little bit.
Okay.
It's hard when it's just those two.
Yeah, just, this year's not. My brother's coming back a little bit. We're going to have a little bit more help on some other stuff.
Well, we have a lot of downtime too, but we're weighing in every 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, you say that. Last year.
Well, last year it was pretty steady, but usually it's every 2 hours between the two weigh-ins.
Yeah, so you got 2 hours where anybody can come up.
It's not much going on.
Yeah.
Not many people going to sit there and go.
And all of a sudden, one person may come up.
Yeah.
That's usually about 10 people show up, and then the game begins. I love the game. I get the giggles. That's what Granddaddy said. You got to quit giggling at these dadgum fishermen. Like, it's funny, though. They all lie to each other, and somebody will take a fish out, and you'll see 3 people walk off. And they're like, I can't. Gosh, dang it.
So, yeah, go ahead, please.
What we have, so you'll understand what he's talking about, we have 2 tanks with water in them. And then we got 1 tank sitting up here with water in it by itself. Well, these 2, you can bring it up and you can hold your fish in them. And if you want to take them out and leave, you can. But if you put them in this tank, you got to weigh them.
So it's like your commitment line.
Yes,
so to speak.
it's a commitment line.
And what's so funny is you coming down to the last 10 seconds and they all
Looking at each other.
All trying to see who's
in
gonna
the
do
tank,
what.
you know?
and the conversations you'll have last year. Dusty, Nomi, another stick,
There he
big stick.
is.
Oh, man.
Hooked on marine.
No, Nomi,
And that's
Nomi, not
yes,
Mobley.
you're right. Mobley. See, we got that.
Yeah.
Too. As an MC, it's hard to keep Dusty Nobley separate.
Yeah.
But anyways, he comes up with a scale and will pester you until you let him weigh your fish.
Really?
He walked up there with the Bubba scale last year multiple times. How big's yours? Oh, I think it's about 3.5. Well, let's figure it out.
And the dummies
And they weigh their fish. They're like, yeah, let's figure it out. I want to see what he might weigh. And it's like,
man.
dude,
Look, see, we have a TV screen up there. We keep the running
weights.
This is what's leading. This is second, third, fourth, this hour.
Yeah.
And every time somebody weighs in, that'll change. See?
Yeah.
Do you do lie detector?
Yeah, we do poly.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
You do that on everybody?
No.
Do randoms. Mostly the winners and the randoms. We'll do a random.
So if you win, you're getting a
You get a
polygraph.
poly. You made too much money. And bringing that subject in. Is there cheating that goes on?
I'm not going to say there's not, but
there's always people that's,
Oh, yeah.
that's
If you get anything
trying to one up. It's if it's money or no, if it's just a simple competition.
There's going to be somebody try to bend the rule.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I like to think that most of our guys are pretty honest, but in a tournament this size, you have people, this may be the only tournament they fish.
They're going to try to
Got
win.
a lot of them like that this is the only tournament they fish. I'm not going to say they're trying to cheat, but this is the only tournament that they fish. And that's why we have a polygraph, just to keep people honest,
Yeah. I was just about to ask what are some of the questions you asked, but I don't want to know that because that's going to give it away.
Well, the very first question you ask any polygraph is if you read the rules and did you understand them.
Because if you didn't,
And if they can't answer yes, you're done. If you don't know the rules, I can't polygraph you on them. You don't know you broke them or not.
That's right.
What you do at that? What would you do at that point? You go and they're out.
the number one rule is you have to read the rules.
You got to read the rules.
So
you must
are,
read the rules. Number
you
one.
are out then. Okay, so it's not all right. Well, let's take 10 minutes. Let's read over the rules and come right back.
It's read this word for word.
Dang it, boy.
They done caught the fish at that point.
Yeah.
Look, son, I better read them rules this year.
I had a guy pull up one night about 10 o'clock and he says, hey, I want to get in the tournament. I said, okay, man, that's great. Where's your boat? Well, it's over there. Well, all right, let's check your live well. Well, why you want to check my live well? I said, because you can't have no fish in it. Well, I got 2 in it. I said, well, you can't get in the tournament. He was going to get in the tournament with fish in his boat.
Hey, that's a good question for somebody that's never fished the Majestic. Let's just say, for whatever reason, Saturday afternoon, whatever plans they had scheduled
Get canceled.
Can they come down and enter?
100%.
Yes, sir.
You can enter it. If the scales close at 7 o'clock, you can enter at 6:59 if you want to.
How about
Go make a
that?
cast.
Yeah, there you go.
We're going to check you out.
Oh, yeah,
before
we're
you
gonna
go,
check your
but,
stuff.
Yeah, you can get in it anytime.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
And you take cash money right there at the spot.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Buy a shirt too.
Exactly. And get in all the
That's
pots.
right. Buy a shirt.
That's another thing. If we sell all the shirts that we have, we're probably going to do 6 shirt hours.
Yeah.
We got to sell them all.
Mm-hmm.
But if we do, we're going to do 6 shirt hours out of the 12.
Yep.
It'll be every other hour.
And that's the extra $100.
Extra $100
per
on
hour.
top.
So you're talking about you come in with a big one. You're taking home $500 for that hour, and then
Another
you're wearing a
100.
shirt, $600.
You know who's really good at that?
Who?
Santos Mitchell. He's won it several times.
The shirt
Yeah.
hours.
You have a purple one on every time.
Yeah.
He gets the purple one.
We always did noon, midnight, and the very last hour. And he would win that noon one
Every time. He'd hold on that 6-pounder. He caught on a daggum rogue on the first cast till 12 o'clock. I got my $100 on
Well,
there.
and that's the thing. Like, that almost sounds like cheating to me, but when I fish a tournament, that's what I do.
Oh, yeah.
When y'all fish a tournament, that's what you do is play in the game. Everybody does
Oh,
it.
yeah.
You catch a fish at 8 o'clock that morning. If you keep him alive
Until 2 o'clock.
Till 2 o'clock that afternoon.
Playing the game. If you got
Look.
that fish in your boat, you want to win some money with it.
That's what I thought you were going to bring up earlier. There might have been somebody that caught a 2.34 pound crappie at the Crazy Crappie Cache this year, weighed in with, I don't know, sub 1 minute.
Yeah.
There's less than a minute left to weigh it in,
Yeah.
playing that game. That person, he may have went up there, been tickled pink. He's never caught a crappie that big in his life. He weighs it. I'm talking about less than, those just seconds. A guy comes in behind him,
It beats
2, 3, 5, and he beat me.
Yeah.
Yep. But, and the difference between, and I'm not throwing any shade on Crazy Crappie Cache, we only allow 3 fish. You can only have 3 fish in the boat at any given time.
Is there not a
There's
limit,
not
on,
a limit.
on the crappie, on Crazy
So
Crappie
somebody
Cache?
can go out there and catch 50 real quick first 2 hours and then sit there all day.
Well, you can only, you actually got to think about this, though. You could only have 25 crappie.
Oh, yeah,
And,
25.
And only 7 of those can be over 12 inches.
Right. But
So-
you catch 7 overs,
Yeah.
you're sitting there the rest of the day
Yeah.
in your boat.
Yeah.
But, though, I'm telling you, with this past year, though, with the fishing, I mean, I know the bass fishing is great, but, dude, crappie fishing, have you known crappie fishing to be as good as it is right now?
Oh, yeah.
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 I really have.
There's been years that it's been a lot better than this year.
Really?
Like a lot better.
Yeah.
I don't know how it can get much better than it is right now. I'm not saying it hasn't. I'm not questioning y'all or doubting that, but I'm talking about these tournaments, these crappie tournaments. Everybody, like, you have a 2-pound fish that doesn't, 200, and it doesn't cut you an hourly check.
Right.
That's crazy. Like, that's impressive.
Right.
That's
Well,
awesome.
Darbonne is one of the highest rated crappie lakes in the nation.
We talk about it often.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's in the Bassmasters top 100 in bass.
Yeah.
I
This
didn't know
year?
that. It's
Sure
in,
is.
was it in top 10 or 15 in crappie?
Top 10, I'm pretty sure.
Top 10.
Yeah.
in crappie.
Top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's either MLF or BASS organization did the top 100, but we are in the midst top 100 in bass in the country.
Well, like I said, the way people are talking about Darbonne now, that's how they were talking about Claiborne 3 years ago,
Yeah.
and look at what it's doing.
Yeah. Oh, I'm talking about ebbs and flows. There's a lake in North Louisiana right now that's hot as a firecracker. But I had somebody tell me something about it the other day. I'm looking at you, Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, because you run this place. So I had a buddy of mine, and he's caught several double digits. I say several. He's caught about 3 or 4 double digits off Bussy. He caught a 13 the other day.
Bussies.
And so I was talking to him about it. I said, come on. And we got to, just talking about it. And he said, I'm going to tell you something, though. I said, what do you say? He said, structure's going away. I said, what do you mean? He said, I know places where there used to be buttonwillows, and they aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
So, and I asked him, I said, well, because that's a WMA, can Daniel Taylor go out there and put structure, man-made structure in there? And I bet that that we can't do that
Ooh, that's
because
a good
it's run
question.
by the.
That's a good question.
Because if we're not with a state,
Has to.
they're gonna have
Right.
to if they want to keep it going like it is.
Right.
So if the state of Louisiana, if that's not already on your radar, baby, you need to get with somebody that's got a forward-facing sonar and go out there and start scanning that bottom and mapping some of this stuff, because I don't want to see that gem fade off because of, lack of upkeep. We got to make sure we keep that one, because that's oh man, the fish that they're pulling out of there.
They get some giants.
It's
so
impressive.
stupid. I ain't even been over there yet since they opened
Really.
it.
I can't believe
Ain't
that.
even been
Last
over there.
time I was there, I was 14 years old.
We
I caught a 8-pounder that day.
But I do remember me and you, all us, watching Alton Jones Jr. show out
my gosh.
on that
Oh,
lake
yeah.
dude.
with MLF.
Well, Randy Howell caught a 13-pounder.
Yeah.
Was it 13 pound?
Well, it was
It was
12,
12
right at 13.
I think we were at Cross Lake when we were at Cross Lake when it was raining and carrying
Yeah.
on. I think we were watching that on your phone.
Yep.
All right, you ready for this?
Tell me something.
So put in here, can I put trees and brush in the water at Bussy Break in Bastrop, Louisiana?
Oh, your ChatGPT guy.
I do that a lot.
Yeah.
I love that thing, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So it says placing trees and brush into the water at Bussy Break Wildlife Management Area in Bastrop, Louisiana is not permitted without prior approval from the LDWF.
You can't get a hold of them.
as a we'll cut that out. Just joking. Y'all need to hear that. And I say that joke. Some of the people that we know, like the higher ups at LDWF, they're incredibly sharp.
Oh, yeah, very,
they're incredibly willing people. But we talking about it more earlier. It takes 2 to tango. Just because you have a few that may not operate at that capacity, don't mean there's not any of them that don't operate there. But it says, as a WMA, Bussy Break is governed by specific regulations designed to protect its ecosystem and ensure public safety. So, LDWF, we need to keep some structure in that place.
Yeah, at least start investigating, make your presence known, and get out there. And I'm not saying that you're not. They may be on top of it.
Might be.
I don't know.
Right.
But I really, really, really hope that they are.
Yeah, that's bringing a lot of people into this area.
Oh, man. It's insane.
And I fished out there a few times. I've caught with Whetstone and them. Caught some.
I was going to say, they got great crappie, too.
Giants.
Crappie fishing.
Giants.
Oh,
Like,
good
Well, it's some
heavens.
catfish heaven, too.
Really?
It used to
Yeah.
be before they drained it. You go out there and catch op. You go out there for a weekend and have 2 giant coolers of op. Like you fill your boat up.
Yeah.
They probably didn't stock it with
No.
Okay.
No.
If they got big bass and crappie like that, they ain't no big ops.
But
There's probably some still floating around.
Maybe.
who was the guy that works at Earl's? John?
Yeah, John.
No, the other one.
John Bearden?
It's not John's
Oh.
brother.
What is his brother's name?
His brother's the one that fishes, isn't it? I know
They
John.
both
I know
fish.
John fishes, but his brother's the one that really fishes Bussy a whole lot.
Yeah, he crappie fishes
Yeah.
mostly.
He's got a sheet of paper that he writes his best crappie on. He's got at least 8 over 3 pounds
Off
a
Bussy?
bussy. He catches the mess out of them. And a
I bet
bunch
he's
of
glad
290s.
you just said that.
Oh yeah, he kills them over there. I mean, just not literally.
Yeah. Hey, and that's something else. You know, Bussy's got this program where you bring your fish in, you weigh it. It's like a lunker program.
Yeah.
What do we got to do to get something like that here on Darbonne?
Money talks.
Money talks, I guess.
That's a Darbonne fish.
That's a big.
75.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
hold it up.
that's a op guy right there.
Yeah,
We
I don't
did some
know.
good.
Yeah, oh yeah. We just got through talking about that on like some stuff coming up with Farmerville for some videos. I don't know if you can see that. I'm gonna try to get it where you can, but Mr. Dale, that's a big.
76 pounds.
He tussled it in the boat.
Oh
We catch him on trot lines.
yeah. It come up like a bass. Tail walked, and we dropped the line twice trying to catch that fish. It was blowing about 25 miles an hour on the big lake. So if we were in swales in a 12-foot john boat.
Oh, yeah. You were fighting that alone,
So
much less a big catfish.
I was in the front. We had the wind in the front of the boat.
Yeah, at the front, yeah.
Man, there ain't no fish on here. And I'm thinking I'm feeling the waves. This song gun jumps up and like nose dives into a wave. And I look at my brother and he's just, how big is that? I said, I don't know. About that time it jumped again and I let go. And we drift 15 yards back and everything and try to get back on it. Jumps up again and dives, drops it again. I said, gosh dang, this thing is huge. But we usually have hooks that will hook and bring the fish in.
He'd have straightened it.
He did. I hooked him and went to pull it and it's straight.
You need one of them yellowfin gaffs.
Dude. Oh, these were those little cheap handheld ones.
Yeah.
I finally grabbed that song gun and he's just getting it. I said, Dakota, you got to get up here. And he's just
in awe.
Oh my gosh. I don't know how this fish is so big. We get it in the boat and we look up at each other and we just goof out for like 30 minutes straight. Just, oh my gosh, this is a giant. This is a monarch of Lake Darbonne. We get back to the house. I said, oh, let's not tell Granddaddy we caught anything. Let's run it. Let's run it. He's like, we get out of the truck. I can't hold it. I'm laughing and giggling. I said, Dakota, you telling me you caught nothing.
Yeah, I said, where's the fish at? Oh, we didn't catch nothing. Where's the fish? I knew they had one somewhere. It was in the back of the truck.
We dropped the tailgate and it lined the whole tailgate.
Shoo,
What's your favorite part to eat out of off the bill?
Belly.
Belly meat, baby.
That's the Reuben Weaver calls it the filet mignon of Lake Darbonne.
Talking about Reuben Weaver, he caught a 75 even with his hand.
Yeah, he's a
This one
hog.
was 75.1. And we know of one other that was 80 something that was supposedly the biggest one ever caught out of Darbonne.
Yep. Like a 82.
Yeah.
Like that.
What was it that somebody said? I think they told us. We were talking to them about a video, and we didn't put it in the video. Like we were just talking to somebody about the video for Life of Farmerville. They said that some scuba divers or something that went down to look, and they came up to like, we ain't going back down there. There's fish down there big enough that they would swallow us. You think that's true? You think it's
You
people?
hear that on
You hear that
every
at every-
You hear it everywhere.
every
You do.
lake.
You
I
do.
heard it. My uncle used to live on Lake of the Ozarks, and we were sitting there talking, and he said the same thing, and I'm like, okay, so that's got to be.
That's the thing.
It's like the
Wives' tale.
Bigfoot. Yeah.
I've
Toledo Bend.
I've heard they came up and said they're bigger than Volkswagens down there.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Volkswagen,
Volkswagens.
Volkswagen
Yeah.
thing.
I used to hear that about the Washita River all
They're
the
bigger
time.
than
the
Volkswagen.
Volks. Yeah. Well, thank y'all for coming on. I really appreciate it. We got the Majestic coming on. Is there anything else y'all want to talk about? We've been rolling, pushing 2 hours.
Dude, this is awesome.
So
I've enjoyed this a lot.
Yeah, it's been a good talk, man.
I mean, look,
We've covered a lot of stuff.
We're in no rush. We can keep rolling if y'all want, but I don't want it to be dead air. So if
I
there's
think
something else
I'm-
y'all don't want to push.
Well, I just want to say that I've lived in Farmerville since 92, and it's a great place to live. It really is. Good people up there. There's some people that's not so good.
Oh,
but
yeah, there's
most
gonna be
people
everywhere.
up there are really good folks. The town's growing. The people in charge are really interested in the lake itself. The lake's a gold mine, but for so many years it wasn't taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Now it's getting well known, and it's really, really showing it's a big boost to the area. A lot of tax money comes in from it, sales tax money. That's one thing we did last year was we did a survey of our fishermen. gave them out a sheet. How much did you spend here? And we presented that to the people in charge, and their mouths fell open. You know, they said, "Wow." And that's why they got behind us this year and are really pushing this thing. It's going to be a festival.
Oh, yeah.
Here in the tournament, it's going to be a lot of vendors there. You know, Rhett has bought Ludwig's place, and he's all for it. You know, we've always had to weigh in Ludwig's shop, and really appreciate Mitch for that. Well, Mitch, he's moved all his operation to 165 now, and Rhett bought it, and Rhett says, "Hey, man, we're not changing this thing.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good."
So y'all go be sure to go to Rhett's Tails and Shells.
Yep.
Because I'm gonna tell you, he is really. I was worried, you know, when everything changed with Ludwig.
Yeah.
And because that's a big deal in June, man, you want to be in a place that's got some shade where you can.
We got air
Air
conditioning.
conditioner in that place, man.
And you know, I was talking with Daniel, and you know, we were kind of nervous. And Rhett stepped up and was like, "Hey guys, I don't want to change anything." So thank you, Rhett Trahan, man. That was awesome.
He is
Thank you
going to
so
cook
much.
a giant thing of jambalaya, and I'm
That's what
I'm
I'm
going to
ready
be
for.
full the whole time.
And if y'all don't come for anything else, come for
That
that.
jambalaya, man, he makes a good one.
Well, I am looking forward to it all. I'm ready to fish it.
Oh,
I'm ready to
man.
go out there, get some content. I'm ready for us to go and highlight me and Zach Poole winning $25,000 on the next Life in Farmville episodes. I'm ready
That's
for you
right.
to bring my name and Zach's name up with
That's
that.
right. Get in front of the camera.
I forgot. You mentioned a festival, Daniel. What
Okay,
all
so
is going to be happening?
We're going to have Rhett's is going to be the only food vendor because it's at
It's at
Rhett's.
Rhett's.
It's at Rhett's.
Right. We have 6 vendors that range from carving things in the cup, like laser carving in the cups, T-shirts, anything like summertime related, swimsuits, toys, all kind of things. I think there's a rodeo the same day as our Majestic, and we're pulling their stuff, and then they're going to go to the rodeo also.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's going to be a vast variety of things that you can purchase, things that are going to be there. And next year we want to grow it. We want more vendors. We want more stuff there. Rhett has said the same thing. Man, I got enough room to host a circus now.
Yeah.
So let's not bring a circus.
That's right. So, guys, if you're coming in from out of town, you got a rodeo, you got the Majestic. Come hang out at the Majestic. Come around lunch. You get to visit with Dale and Daniel. If they're not weighing fish, you get a lot of stuff going on for your family. You get to spend time on the lake, and then at that evening, you get to go to the rodeo.
Yep.
So, I mean, that is a big weekend. So, out of towners, come on in, baby. We want to see you. Come have fun with us.
And my name is Greg Hicks, and with that, I want to let you live your life past
Well, that's
20
what they-
yards.
that's what they
Welcome to
say,
this
man.
month's Life in Farmville.
Yeah.
That
we
sounded like the
enjoyed it.
intro. Save that for the next
I
one.
love it. I love it, man.
No, it is good. So, someone that is wanting to be a vendor, how
Contact
what are
me.
they?
Daniel
Okay.
Taylor, 318-548-7790.
Booth rent?
There's
what?
no charge.
Okay. They can just come and
you
set
have
up.
to bring all your stuff to set up. We will have a spot for you,
Inside?
inside, outside, both.
So
Don't
inside.
we?
and-
Did we have Folly Beach?
We have Folly Beach for parking.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
We have
awesome.
Folly Beach for parking. You cross the road. Be very careful crossing the road.
Is
Yeah.
it free parking?
Free parking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't block no one in. Don't, because of course we're running the tournament. We can't control
Yeah.
parking and things of that
Yeah,
nature.
yeah.
But plenty of room to park. Like I said, come eat lunch. Red's going to have an awesome spread as usual, and then come see what we got.
And if you've never been to Rhett's, if you come, you can go inside. It's air conditioned. They got great drinks. If you're over 21, they got drinks for you, all kind of stuff. So, I mean, this is not just a tournament. Okay. This is
An event.
this is an event. This is special.
And they'll be
And we
there.
really want to make sure that this very first big one like this, with everything going on, we want to kick it off right.
Right.
Yeah.
And
You know, one other thing I want to mention on your entries, tackle shops will close that Friday afternoon at 5. We will be at Rhett's there from 5 o'clock until probably 9 or when they quit coming. We usually sign up 100 that night. We'll be back the next morning at 4. So if you're out of town, we have some guys coming from Shreveport, some from Gina, got one out of Missouri.
couple out of
They
Florida.
may not get there till that morning. We'll be there to sign you up.
Yeah. So it's not going to be a blast off
No.
one place.
So
you can put in wherever.
Put in anywhere at 4 o'clock. Well, is it 4 o'clock? You can leave. You can put
You
in.
can leave.
So you can put in that night and stay at the ramp. At 4 o'clock, you can leave. At 5:30, you make your first cast.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm not blasting off 200 people.
Oh, that'd be
Not
a
at that
nightmare.
place.
No.
Yeah, you can use any ramp on the
Yep.
lake. And if you got a personal ramp in your yard, you put your boat in, dock it, leave at 4 o'clock.
Yep.
Just in case there's someone still listening to all of this, we got a little bit. I mean, it's not anything just like super new, like mind blowing, but the mega ramp. We did we're all ready, but there's a lot. Same way with the Volkswagen size catfish down there. It's the same, not the same people, but it's the same thing. People say, well, that thing, it ain't ever going to happen. Well, we're getting to see, especially us four at this table, we're all heavily involved with the town. We get to see a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, and not stuff that's secret. It's just, you can't just, I'm not even saying they can't publish every single thing, but it's just the little bitty small things that you see going on. And the mega ramp, it's getting close.
It's coming.
Yeah.
It's at the Corps of Engineers right now. And I think we're waiting, trying not to speak out of turn, but I think we're waiting for one signature, I think, if that sounds right. And so it's getting really close. And, dude, that thing's going to be.
Oh, it'll be nice.
It's going to be
It's going to be.
Right now, it's 2009. It'll be useful.
2029.
Yeah, 2029. Be in use.
I
hope I'm still here then.
I may be.
Yeah, me too.
I might be wrong, but just little Tweety Bird may have said that about half that time is what they're
that'd be great.
shooting
That'd be
for.
awesome.
But of course, that's also like building a house in 3 or 4 months. It's going to take.
No, Greg knows about this.
Greg,
you
he'll tell
got to
you.
have everything lined
Perfect.
up.
Yeah,
If
and a lot of-
everything lines up perfectly, and somebody said this morning, it was funny, we were just talking about it, like, I can't believe they didn't try to do something when the drawdown, because they had all that real estate. I said, man, they'll go in, they'll put a levee in, they'll pump all that water
That's
out,
exactly right.
and then they'll keep everything. And so just because progress isn't going or didn't happen when the lake was drawn down doesn't mean it's not going to happen. There's things that they can do to control that water and get all that stuff out, make the drainage right. Again, it's a process.
Yeah.
And you got
And if,
Well, it's
and if
like
the
you
stars
say,
align,
somebody's got to write it off.
Oh,
One
right.
guy left. It's what I understand, a signature
Yeah.
before it can.
Are you talking about at the Corps of Engineers?
Yeah.
Yeah. You talk, I'm going to let you go, but I'm going to let you say this or say what you need to say. You talk to the people outside of the government of Farmerville, just the people we know and people that are, elected officials and government workers in Farmerville. You talk to the people outside of that, they say, you give us just a little bit of time and this puppy's about to be rolling and it ain't going to stop.
Right.
You're going to be seeing progress. And that's not our mayor telling us that or the Farmerville mayor. It ain't John telling everybody that. This is the people outside him. This is people that don't live in Farmerville. It's just another project for them.
Yep.
And they're telling you it's about to get wide open.
And you got to look at it. They're already kind of starting on it with moving utilities over.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been moving utilities over for a month
yeah, they have.
and getting it cleaned
Really
up
have.
and getting it all ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. Like I said, once they light that fire, it's going to keep.
Yeah, they're moving
rolling.
those gas lines right now. That one big gas station that's right there, it's got to be. They're doing it.
Progress is being made. Well, the town of Farmerville in northeast Louisiana is on fire. I feel like I'm doing your job. The Lake Darbonne, it's on fire. Greg, tell us what's up. You do a better job than me. Wrap us up.
I want to thank Dale Taylor and Daniel Taylor for coming in today, hanging out with us and talking about Lake Darbonne and the Majestic. I want to thank Nolan for sitting here and making sure this thing takes place. Thank you to the Spotted Dog for all your support with this. That's Nolan West, Dale Taylor, Daniel Taylor. I'm Greg Hicks with the Antlers and Hicks podcast, sitting here with the Spotted Dog podcast. And we'll catch you guys. Well, I take that back.
No, we
want to
encourage
encourage you to live your life past 20 yards.
That's the part I was waiting
Wondered
for.
if you were going to do it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. And I was like, I can't say it as good as him.
Yeah.
He just took my job. He did everything for me. So, all right, no, thank y'all, Dale, Daniel, Greg. Thank y'all for coming
Hey,
on.
anytime.
I really
you.
appreciate it. Yeah, anytime y'all want to come on, there's so much more we didn't get into. So I really, really appreciate it. As I said last time on Connor's podcast, the one with Tournament Technologies, if you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to all of them. But that was a really good. If you're into fishing, go check that one out. It is awesome. There's some really good. A lot of it is like really like detail oriented stuff of like install on your boat, electronics, different things like that. But it's little bitty changes that's not that expensive. It makes a big difference. So anyhow, check that out. That was episode 30, and it was really good. And we're rolling on. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for checking it out. I think that's about all that I got.
That's it, baby.
That's it. Check out SpottedDogSportingGoods.com. And we have some merch. That's what I was saying. We have some merch, and it's going to be coming here pretty soon. We got some cool hats, really, really cool shirts, just some other fun stuff. So be checking out. That'll be online as well at SpottedDogSportingGoods.com. And check out the Majestic. Look at them. And if you're ever needing some flowers, get that old FFS, old forward-facing sonar. I mean, Farmerville Flower Shop.
There you go.
You like that, didn't you? It's like they planned it.
That's right.
Yep. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see y'all next time.